rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the Wednesday, December 17th Planning and Zoning Commission meeting is officially open. Roll call. Ms. Delvecchio, you're here. Ms. Hall is here, and she is a voting member tonight. Mr. Silber is absent. Mr. Krull, you are here. Mr. Cousins, you are here. Mr. Deacon, you are here. And I am here. Is that good, Abigail? Excellent. Okay, first order of business is the election of officers. At this time, I will take nominations for chair. Go ahead.
I'd like to nominate Fred Garrity for chairman.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none? You want to nominate somebody else? No. All right, we're good. Okay. Nominations are closed. All those in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Thank you very much. At this time, I will take nominations for vice chair.
I nominate Tony Silber for vice chair.
Okay, is there a second? Second, Mr. Deacon. Are there any other nominations? Any others? Hearing none, nominations are closed. All those in favor of Mr. Silber, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nominations for recording secretary. I think that's the title, right? What is it? Recording secretary. There you go. We'll take that.
I nominate Richard Deacon.
Is there a second? Ms. Delvecchio. Any other nominations? Nope. Hearing none. Closed. All in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to 2026. All right. So we have the bylaws and the rules that are the same. There are no changes for today that we have to, by official rule and law, just say we are adopting them again.
So
Mr.
moved.
Deacon, so moved. Is there a second? Ms. Delvecchio, any questions or comments on the bylaws that we just are reinstituting? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. We have the list of dates for the 2026 Planning and Zoning Commission meetings. Everybody had a chance to take a look at it. Any questions or comments? Following the same Wednesday routine as normal, minus holidays. Any questions? All right, so we adopt that.
So moved.
Second, Ms. Hall. All in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're good. Okay, so we'll hand out a few Christmas presents while we're at it. At this time, we will take a motion to hear number 4, 18, 22, and 28 Hedgehog Road, file 2523, out of order, and take it first. Is there a motion? Mr. Deacon, is there a second? Ms. Hall, all in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you. So at this time, we will call, in response to a cease and desist order, applicant New Life Assembly of God is requesting a special permit site plan approval to complete excavation fill activities and grading in order to expand the existing parking lot area and add an additional entrance to the parking lot in a Residence A zone pursuant to Article 2, Section 1.14, and Article 9, Sections 2 and 3 of the Town of Trumbull zoning regulations, file 2523, continued from November 19. I'm going to ask the planner to give his report in a second after name and address for the record. But I'm going to say on the record something today that I've had to say before. Some of you may have experienced it in our wonderful world of electronic spam. There was a spam email that went out, I believe, for this application. It's happened in the past, and that was also another nonprofit that when that last one had my name on it, said, I said so, you need to donate money or your application doesn't, and all these fees that were due. That never comes from the town. It's all spam. You ever get emails from us asking for money, call the town. It was bad. We're glad everybody's here, but we put that on the record. A lot of people from home watch that. Not true. Sad to say, but we're on the record now. So, Mr. Rizzio, if you want to introduce yourself and your client, and then we can get Rob to read his report.
Chair, I was just trying to save some time, and I know you got a busy night tonight and hand a couple of these out. My name is Raymond Rizzio,
Happy to be here tonight. My office is at 10 Sasko Hill Road, Connecticut. I represent New Life Church. Mike's not on. Chairman, members of the commission, my name is Raymond Rizzio. Happy to be before you tonight, representing New Life Church with regard to the property at 18, 22, and 28 Hedgehog Road, and my office at 10 Sasko Hill Road, Fairfield, Connecticut.
Mr. Lebrandi, is there a report?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This application, as stated, was part of a cease and desist order. The cease and desist order was back December 12th, 2024. As since the property owner has come to the town and requesting a special permit application to the cease and desist order. The cease and desist order was for earth excavation and filling and removal beyond the allowed amount per the Town of Trumbull regulations. The applicant is looking for to add 642 cubic yards of fill back onto the property, and currently it contains 299 parking spaces, and they're looking to add 122 spaces for a total of 421 spaces. So there is no structure is being built on site. It's the parking. I believe the parking is already to some degree been worked on. I know there's some engineering drainage issues that still need to be done out there, but the plan submitted shows the work that they're planning on doing there.
So, yeah, the major question is the engineering plan that we're about to approve in line with what's required that they have to meet?
Yes.
That's what we need to know. And for everybody's benefit, it says, in response to a cease and desist many years ago, the commission asked that verbiage be put there. Every once in a while, somebody tries to beat the system, but most of the time it's a hiccup. People have a hiccup, they come, they do it the right way, and we're on our way. Floor is yours
As to the hiccup.
for about 9 minutes.
Yeah, I'll be very quick. So, Chairman, what happened with our client is they were paving a driveway on the lower home. We had a parishioner helping out. They were trying to do some grading. They're not worried. They were not understood that there's a cut and fill permit required. There was never any intention to go ahead and try and put in all this parking before coming to you. They had talked to me about it early on. We were just waiting for plans and stuff to get ready. You know, they knew they weren't building anything. They weren't going to be anywhere near any setbacks. They just thought they could do some clearing, and that sparked the cease and desist. But upon receiving the cease and dismissed, spoke to the client, immediately stopped all work on site until we're back here in front of you. This is we're plan on doing is currently we have 299 existing spaces. We're going to add another 122 spaces to get to 421 spaces. We have a parish of about 1,800 members. We have 3 services on Sunday, basically 8:45, 9:30, and 11:15, 10:30, 9:30, 11:15, and then usually a Wednesday night service also. By adding these cars, average attendance on a large mass would be about 600 people, we believe, and we clearly don't have enough parking there now. The church has been extremely successful, does a lot of good within the town. In fact, what I've handed you tonight is a petition from 350 Trumbull residents who are supporting this application. We also self-police ourselves. We have people out there directing cars, directing traffic. So what we've done is we've added, and I'll show you very quickly. Can I turn this around?
Attorney Rizzio, can you submit that petition to the record?
I submitted it for the record.
Who?
I'm sorry, I forgot you, Rob.
I got it, Rick.
Oh.
Attorney Rizzio, I have it.
We got it. We have it.
So what we plan on doing is increasing up top some additional spaces, and then there's currently a driveway here now. We're going to expand that driveway to make it conforming to town regulations. Currently, the current driveway and curb cut is not conforming with town regulations. We will expand that. That will be the entrance. So we're not adding any new curb cuts. And there'll be a lower level that can come here. So when the upper level fills up, the people that help us out on the weekends will then direct traffic down to the lower level, which will give us, as I said, the 422 spaces. Even if you have 600 people, I can tell you not everyone comes to church alone. Most people come as couples, and that counts as couples, families, and everything else. We believe that 422 will more than satisfy our requirements. Nice thing about this, even with all this work, actually there won't be any noise. This is going to be very quiet. As I said, we are surrounded by Stern Village. You can see the huge setbacks with regard to any neighbors. And then I'll show you a planting plan that is very severe, so that no one will really even see any of this parking. Everything, Chris Plakowski's our engineer, has worked everything through with Tatiana. There is a wetlands also to the north that protects the neighbors in the back. To the south, there's large grade changes, as you know, as you come up Hedge Hop. Both curb cuts have sufficient sight lines. What I'd like to show you now, very quickly, is the extensive landscape plan. So what you have up here is you kind of have a guardrail, because this is a steep kickback, a steep drop off the upper level. Spaces will be added here. Walkway will be added up the middle. Then large trees in front of the cars on the lower level so that there's no light shining out. Then there'll be another set of trees along the driveway into the home that's in the rear, and then another set of trees against the neighbor's property. This is going to be about as well landscaped and buffered parking lot as you have in town. And that's really all we're here for. We're not building anything, we're not changing it, we're not changing anything to the buildings. What we have is a growing church, and our church needs, this is really actually more for safety. What I did hand out to you also was we've been to the police department, because obviously they were extremely important in giving you input to your decision, and they fully supported. It was noted that the traffic division reports concluded that the proposed plan will safely and adequately handle the church traffic. That's the most important part of our presentation. If you haven't been up there, I just want to show you a couple quick pictures.
Yeah.
I'll be available for questions.
While you're getting your pictures, I'm going to see if the commissioners have any questions.
Sure.
Start with Mr. Crowley. Have any questions?
No, I reviewed it. I didn't see any issues with it. I have no association with it, but I've been there for funerals, and they do handle the traffic, flow properly and well.
Thank you. Mr. Cousins? Mr. Deacon? Ms. Delvecchio? Ms. Hall?
How many spots are currently there now?
299.
299.
We're gonna add another 122. But what we're also doing is, a lot of the driveway aisles are too narrow, so all the driveway aisles will be conforming. So now the driveway aisles will be 24 feet. The curb cuts will be appropriate. We've actually even added a fire lane for the fire department, so that we want, basically you're upgrading the safety. The other thing you're doing, and working with Tatiana and the engineer, is the lower level, and a lot of it has 1980s drainage, basically not much. So all the standards we've brought up to current demands and current town requirements with regard to the drainage on the property. I'm just going to give you a quick feel so that you see, as you know, that's the church, but I want to show you where this is effective. So as you can see down below, there's already a significant amount of trees buffering the residential neighborhood. Same thing up here. So this is the upper tier looking down. Trees will be on either side of it, and that's basically
good.
it. You've seen the property,
Okay.
you know the property. They've been here since, I've been clients of mine since the 80s. Just a great contributor to the town of Trumbull, and this will allow them to operate, and their parishioners operate and visit their church in a safe and reasonable manner.
So as a matter of formality, we generally hear from the town planner. Yeah, let the applicant give their presentation, commissioners ask questions, and then we ask the public if there's anybody here who is for or against and would like to come up and tell us. And I would say a little prayer that you have a spokesperson rather than a line of folks that are going to come tell us you're in favor of it, because I can easily say that there are 70 of you here in favor of it. If there's any one of you who would like to come up, now I can't stop anybody from coming, but I can strongly hope somebody wants to come up and say what they feel and why, for or against, just let us know.
Mr. Chairman, we also have the petition as well, too. That shows that they.
Yep.
My name's Mark Evans. Fortunately or unfortunately, I'm the pastor of the church.
Okay.
I'm also a resident of Hedgehog Road, so I am a neighbor, and as a neighbor, I'm in favor of it. I've been the pastor there for just over 40 years. New Life strives to be a place of hope and peace in a very divided world, which is, I believe, one of the reasons why our congregation is growing. And the truth is, we can't go anywhere. We're a church. We're not a huge financial organization. I met with Mr. Bob Cinto a year ago and looked at some other properties. And after a long meeting, Mr. Cinto said to me, "Reverend, you got a huge problem." And I said, "What is that, Mr. Cinto?" He said, "You only make money on Sundays. You can't afford anything." So we are where we are. Not that we want to leave. We love this town. We're a part of this community. A lot of our parishioners live in this town. I've lived in this town for over 35 years. We love this town, so we don't want to go anywhere. But we also understand that in our growth, we have created some issues. And our goal, with all sincerity, is to do the very best job we can to correct some of the traffic flow issues, to aid with parking, but then also to make it the most beautiful piece of property. Our budget for plantings and for trees to, shield neighbors and do those kind of things is just off the charts. And we want to make it as beautiful as we can. We want to make the street better and beautiful. And we love where we are and love this town, and we hope that we can get permission to continue to grow in this community. I know there are lots of people from our church who would love to say something, but they'll bow to
Now that
your-
we're on the record, how many people here are in favor of this application? Look at that for the cameras. That looks beautiful. Nice.
Plus the 340. I told most of our members to stay home tonight.
Thank you.
I told these people to stay home, and they wouldn't listen to me. I told my wife to stay home, and she wouldn't listen to me. So, but over 350 people, or 345 people, from the town, some of them neighbors, signed the petition and said that they were in favor of it.
Thank you
for
very
your
much.
time.
Is there anybody here who wants to speak against, for and against? Come on up.
It's on.
Hey, good evening. I live on Hedgehog Road. I just don't know when it's going to stop if they buy another house and then clear the property and add more parking and stuff because the traffic's horrendous. I said one entrance and exit is not going to solve anything. Hedgehog Road is just too small for it. The whole area where it's at is too small. And I have a son that has medical issues and has seizures, so sitting in line for a half hour trying to get to my house sometimes, it's ridiculous. So.
I understand. Thank you.
Sir, can you give us your name and address?
Yeah, name and address for the record.
Todd Schutz on 8 Hedgehog Road.
Can you say your last name again so she hears it?
Schutz.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Come on up.
Hello. My name is Carol Hudak. I live on 296 Daniels Farm Road, which is the corner of Daniels Farm and Hedgehog. And I'm here with my neighbor to just repeat what he has said. The traffic is very difficult. It's horrendous. This should never have started. Church, when New Life came in, they were looking to buy up that side, all of the side of Hedgehog Road. Now, they presented themselves a bit different publicly, that we're just a small country church. This is what they would say. But their plan was to own the whole side, that whole side of Hedgehog. If they do love Trumbull, and I love it too, and anybody here I hope that is in Trumbull loves the town, and it just having all that traffic, the noise, people stopping, cars all over the place, when we're going with something like this in a very small little neighborhood is distressing.
Thank you.
It's noisy. So I would, I know we're here speaking and it's not going to mean anything.
No,
but-
it absolutely means something.
Well,
and
we're-
I'm
we're-
going to speak to it when you're all
Yeah,
done.
I
will.
have other neighbors that can't be here. One was ill, several other neighbors and people that are distressed. And I've also been told about people at Stern Village that are very upset because they've got regularly going ambulances up and down Hedgehog Road. We have elderly people up there. And for them to come and go on the street with all the traffic when the church meets is just way too much for them. So it really is, if the church is successful, and God bless you if this is what our Lord has led you to. But I would really say to grow and to make it bigger the way they're talking about is not proper for this area. It's just not. They need another place where they should just wonderfully expand as much as they want to. Okay, I have more to say, but I'll wait. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for the time.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Come on up. Just name and address for the record.
Sure. Frank Tyberski, 11 Eldor Lane. I've been a resident of this neighborhood for, believe it or not, almost over 50 years now. My parents have since deceased. I took over the house, and I've been coming to these meetings since I was probably like 5 years old, whether it's Stern Village or the church. My mom actually put together a whole book that I read today to get up to speed. But I've been here through every meeting, every cease and desist. There's been more than one cease and desist that occurred this past year. And I hate to say that I'm for or against something. I just want it to be done, progress done in the right way. You know, I want the community to act together for what's best for the community. If they need more spaces, you know, that's something that needs to be addressed, but I believe it needs to be addressed in the right way. And as a neighborhood, we're putting our faith in you guys and to make sure that it's done in the right way. My major concern, we're on the Eldor side, which is down pretty much stream of the church. Water and drainage is our major issue. Number one, paramount for us. When the church came in the late 80s, when they were requesting additional parking and additional expansion, it was turned down by this planning and zoning, mainly for a couple reasons. One, the increased traffic congestion. Two, the drainage. And three, also that it did not fit the character of the neighborhood. That was stated then. Whether you want to agree or disagree, that was stated. They challenged it. It went to the state superior court. State superior court, they also lost for those major reasons. The main reason was the drainage, that they were not hooked up to the state storm drains. I don't know if that's the case now. We just sort of slightly referenced the drainage situation, but I'm putting our faith in the town engineers to really look at that, as that's our main concern.
Thank you.
And then what this woman has said too, I would support the traffic. You can do all the traffic studies you want. We live it. Every weekend, trying to get out of Eldor, even though they have the police directing, it's hard to make that turn. All the traffic backs up. It's very dangerous. But if
Thank
there's-
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anybody else? Come on up.
Hi, good evening. My name is Linda Quinn. I'm a homeowner at 12 Eldor Lane, which is right across the street from Frank Tyberski. So that book that Frank just showed you, actually Nell, his mother, had given to me. And I have copies of some of the most important documents that were in there. This goes back from the early 70s all the way through the 80s, which I hope I can distribute to all of you here. The church is located in a small neighborhood. So my concern is the expansion of the church. The additional exit out of the church is not going to help the Daniels Farm traffic. And if you do not come down that street, then you do not know what it's like. If you're going to only add additional parking and you plan on growing the church, we're going to have additional issues. And I do believe, actually, I'm not sure if I can validate this, but I thought I heard a cop was actually hit on the street. Was he? Yes. So my concerns are the same concerns from this pamphlet's in here that includes all my former neighbors and current neighbors. I'd like to know the intention of the church for its growth. How much land do they currently own? I know they've bought 2 houses in the neighborhood, at least. I'm not sure if it's more than that. And I know they're talking about expansion, but what goes beyond tonight's request? Already from my front door, I can see all the lights from the parking lot. I do request that the board reviews these documents that I have. They're from the Trumbull Times and the Bridgeport paper. So we need the zoning board to remember it's a small neighborhood. And before any approvals from the board is done, I do request that you know and find out the vision of the church expansion. Thank you.
Thank you.
And can I hand out some of these to?
You can hand them in here for the record. Yep. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else?
Give me 1 second, Chris. Officer Delgado, I have a client that's going to help speak to rebuttal. It's part of my rebuttal, and I'll be
No,
quick.
if he's part of the public, let him go before you.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name's David Delgado. I've lived in Trumbull for 7 years. I live on 41 Leffert Road in Trumbull, Connecticut. My family and I have attended New Life Church for the last 7 years. And I come to you today dressed as a police officer because I just got out of work, but as a resident of this wonderful town. And I'm here to let you know that I support New Life's proposed parking and traffic flow plan. For me, it's easy and it makes sense, not only as far as safety, but for the betterment of the community as a whole. Better traffic management with more parking allows people to stay at church a little longer. They don't have to get out as quickly, to be able to get the other people that are coming into the church as quickly. It's safer for pedestrian access. It's less disruption in our neighborhood, and it's something every resident should want, and I believe their plan covers exactly that. I've had 12 years of experience in law enforcement, and I know that a growing church is a presence for the town and a community, that it contributes to its public safety. Research shows that religious involvement in houses of worship act as a protective factor for the community. It's also been proven over and over that people who are involved in faith-based community are less likely to engage in criminal behavior. And as a resident in a town of this town, a safer Trumbull sounds pretty good to me. With the approval of this plan, I believe we're one step closer. As far as emergency services having to get there, we've had incidents where we've needed emergency services, and it's never been an issue. I've been to 3 calls on property, and it's all worked out. I thank God for that, and I thank the people of this town and the workers that have been able to do that. I understand where they're coming from. Maybe they haven't been to our church. Maybe they haven't. Maybe they have. I think that what our church is doing is something that really truly benefits the town. We've got 1,800 people coming into town, whether they're residents or not. They're coming into town. They're spending their money. They're going to eat down at town center. I go to Trumbull Cafe after church almost every week, and I see a lot of the same people in my church doing the same. I think it's a great plan. The cops do a great job over there. The church hires officers to help with traffic, and I know that they do a great job. Now, as far as officers getting hit, I've been hit twice on duty. It's not because of traffic. It's because people are on their phones, not paying attention. I could be wearing a bright green gown and they'd still hit me. I could have flashlights coming out of my ears and I'd still be hit. The 2 times that I was hit, It was in broad daylight during school hours. It's just people don't pay attention. I thank you for your time.
Thank
God
you.
bless you guys.
You know what, we're going to get into our rebuttal. I think Officer summed up the feelings of everybody that's here. I'm going to state for the record, there is no intention to expand the church. It's to service the existing people and create a safe environment and basically to be able to help the traffic out. There is a traffic study that is on the record, that has been submitted, that states the same. The congregation's not getting any smaller. The congregation it's not that they need to get bigger. It's the whole purpose of this is to provide safe parking, safe entrance and exit, and and basically to relieve some of the traffic so that people aren't waiting on the street or lining up, queuing on the street, waiting for a parking space to open. Additionally, we've, as I said, created fire lanes and brought everything else into conformity. I'll have Chris Balkowski just say one quick thing about the drainage, and that's all gone through, been approved through the town. It's gone through an extensive review over the last 2 months with meeting basically every request that's been met by town engineering. Chris, just really quick, take them through the drainage and how basically we've been improving the drainage and meeting state and local standards. I'll turn this around for you.
Thank you, Ray, and thank you, Commission members. On behalf of the applicant, for the record, my name is Chris Pulowski. I'm a licensed professional engineer in the state of Connecticut with Civil 1. I'm just going to quickly go over some of the drainage items. I know Ray did touch on it initially, but just want to go over that. And we did see there was a neighbor who submitted a letter that I don't believe is here tonight that had some concerns regarding the drainage, so I'm going to try to put that all to bed in this quick presentation. So the church high elevations on the site are on top. The water, the storm water, if you will, flows from the top of the page here down to the bottom of the page from the east to the west. There's about a 50 to a 75-foot grade change across the site. As part of the proposed improvements, and again, there's no actual expansion of the building. We're just doing site improvements here to improve the existing conditions. There's going to be an additional parking pad, if you will, installed at the lower elevations on the site, closer to the neighbors to the west. So at the top of the site, there's an existing storm drainage network. As part of the town of Trumbull's engineering department review, they actually have very stringent regulations. So on top of the 2024 stormwater quality regulations that we have to meet, there's also additional standards that Trumbull places on us. For example, in the top reach of the parking lot here, there's an impervious area that was added some time ago. We actually modeled that as a woods in existing conditions. So even though it's impervious now, we were in conjunction with the engineering department to meet their requests, modeled that as an existing wooded condition. So when proposed, it's going to be impervious, but we're treating that in existing as if it were wooded, not as it currently is already paved or a gravel area. There's a series of stormwater improvements that we're doing in the lower half of the site. There's 2 underground stormwater systems. They're comprised of over 80 units of ADS stormwater infiltrators. The cost of the system to the church is in the several hundreds of thousands of dollars. There are significant amounts of stone, pipe, arch chambers. We have water quality swales. The drainage on this plan is extensive. We are meeting or reducing all the peak storm events up to the 100-year storm throughout the site with our proposed stormwater infiltration measures. So again, the stormwater has been designed in the accordance with the 2024 Stormwater Quality Manual. We are meeting or reducing all of the existing drainage flows as a part of our proposed project. And I'm happy to go into more detail, but
I'm sure you would.
that should be enough. So, thank you.
Any questions from commissioners on that part? Nope. Thank you very much.
Chairman, also make it clear to the neighbors, most importantly, and there was no intent to grow, but if this building were to grow by a square foot, we're back in front of you for a special permit. So
Right.
there's no way to grow this church without coming back before you. Well, this is really an attempt to really, not an attempt. What we're trying to do is we're spending a lot of money to basically make this a safe place for not only the people that are on the street, but that the people off the street to park at our church.
Thank
I
you.
believe we satisfy our special permit standards. I believe we satisfied all the engineering standards. And actually, to do more harm to the neighborhood would be to deny this application, because what you would do is you'd end up with a church that still has a parking problem, still has a traffic problem. To approve this application, it really does better the neighbors, better the neighborhood, better anybody that comes up and down that street. For all those reasons, we would respectfully request this commission grant this application. I
Right.
thank you for your time.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody for their opinions, and I've said many times in the past that everybody's opinion matters. Our job is to pick, unfortunately, one side or the other on many occasions, and as both the attorney and other people had put it, there is a lot of traffic. I don't think anybody in this room has not driven on Daniel's Farm during one or another of the services there and had a hiccup for a while. One of the things, I don't want to compare it to a cup of coffee in Trumbull Center, but it's, when you have businesses and you have parking requirements, they are for the expectations, successes of businesses or churches. Many people in the audience do know, and some may not, that federal law allows churches in neighborhoods. That's what they're designed for, to be in a neighborhood and attract. And if we were talking about expansion of the church, we would be having a much longer meeting and much more questions to some of the comments that we heard. But we do know that there is a traffic issue, and expanding the parking means more cars are off the road faster than they are today. So that's kind of what we're looking at. This is a problem solution for one of the issues that exists. So with that being said, I will take a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second, Ms. Delvecchio. All in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Questions, comments?
It appears that if the application is granted, there's not going to suddenly be more people coming to the church. They're already going to the church. The traffic is evidently already there. What we would be doing is helping the queuing inside the facility, getting cars off of the road. There's not going to be any expansion right now. I do like looking through this document here a lot. Of course, a lot of the reasons many of these denials happened, whether at the ZBA or P&Z level in the 80s, one of them in the week of my birth. This is pretty old. The rules and sensibilities are somewhat different. It seems to be very positive to get all these cars safely, instead of parking on grass or dirt. And they're going to be parking on the campus anyway. They're already there. That's all.
Right. Unlike you, my comparison to his story is I've been in this room for 25 years of the 50 he's been living, doing this. So one of the things everybody has to take some comfort in, especially on this side, is that cease and desist and their go forward does not happen without the approval of the engineering department. And you can take some solace, if any. I've been doing this for 25 years. I have never once heard an applicant or neighbors come back and say the requirements that the town engineering put on that applicant were insufficient and didn't work. So what they're going through, as you described, is above and beyond what's required and should alleviate some of the issues of the engineering stormwater along with the parking. Mr. Cousins, you're good? Mr. Vecchio, you're good? I'm good. All right. I'll take a motion.
Motion to approve.
All right, is there a second? Ms. Delvecchio. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you, congratulations. Nice night. All right. So we're gonna do one more, guys, if you could just keep it down on your way out. We're gonna do one more right now, out of order. We will take a motion for numbers 6 and 7, 2530 and 2531, to hear them next, out of order. Sit in motion. Deacon, second. Ms. Delvecchio, thank you. I was looking the other way. All in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. Thank you. Okay, name and address for the record, and then we'll let staff give their quick report.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, my name is Brian Smith with Robinson & Co. at 1 State Street. We're here on behalf of the Henkel Corporation at 4 and 9 Trefoil. And we were, okay. I have to just put the presentation, which is for the two applications. Hold on one second.
Bob, you want to give your report?
Yeah, well, I'm struggling with this. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, are we doing 4 and 9 together? Or are we separate? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing 6. We're going to hear 6 and 7 together, so feel free to combine your comments, and then we will separate them for voting and discussion.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I'm just going to first go through 4 Trefoil Drive. Well, 4 and 9 Trefoil Drive did go in front of the Police Commission, did receive an approval for the, there's a proposed sidewalk, crosswalk addition on the property, on Trefoil Drive. As you may or may not know, Henkel is in a few buildings. They're on 30 Spring Hill Road, and they're currently at 4 Trefoil, and they are looking to get into 9 Trefoil Drive. So that crosswalk is kind of a connection between, if you look at air photo, all 3 properties. If you look at 4 Trefoil Drive, the proposed application, there is a sidewalk connecting. There's a walking bridge to the rear of the property, and then a proposed sidewalk that goes along the existing building, and the crosswalk, and then connecting to 9 Trefoil Drive. So with 4 Trefoil Drive, they're reducing the amount of parking spaces from 80 to 66. And if you look at the ITE traffic standards, that does show that there's adequate amount of parking for the site. Then we're going to go, so the only thing on that site was really just site-specific, nothing to do with really the interior. There are some signage upgrades on the plan, but nothing really structural besides that. Then 9 Trefoil Drive, they're looking to do and use the existing building and put an addition on, and do some parking upgrades. They're proposing to put 100 parking spaces on site, which again complies with the IT parking requirements for a research facility. They are going to restructure the site due to the truck circulation and with the addition on the back. They're going to be adding a central unit plant. Utility plant, excuse me. Yep. And chillers as well too. So they may, I'm not sure, maybe they can explain us what those are. They're going to be doing a patio in the rear as well too. And that's really it. They did receive approval from the Inland Wetlands Commission. They are putting electric charging stations on both properties, and other site improvements. And like I said, they did go in front of the Police Commission for approval. As I can see, there's no issues with the setback requirements through the town regulations. And I believe this application is good to go. The only requirement I would ask is that they put rooftop screening. If they're going to put anything at the top of 9 Trefoil in terms of any type of equipment, none of the equipment should be visible from the street. Other than that, I think we're okay.
Great, so it's going to be your turn, and you've been here enough times, you've seen me here, right?
Oh,
So
yes, sir.
I don't try and brush people off, but we have such faith in staff that they have gone through the fine details that commissioners pretty much know, and they've gone through their packets, the questions that they have. So we want you to hit the high important points for us and the major changes. You don't have to go into extreme detail that you had to with the staff because they've done those approvals. We'll get you the questions from that, all right?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. It's a pleasure to be back before you here in Trumbull, and I would just add that we have very brief presentations by 3 other people who will do the explaining rather than people having to listen to me. And but the important point is that we've been, as Mr. LeBrandy said, we have been administrative wetland approvals and the police commission approval for the pedestrian crosswalk that is being proposed between 4 and 9 Trefoil. The application, we have 2 slide decks. The first one's for 4, which we'll get into right now. The first person up is Mr. Stephen Leeper from Henkel Corporation to explain what.
Pull that microphone a little more, aim it to you. There you go.
Okay. The first witness that I'm calling is Mr. Stephen Leeper, who is with Henkel Corporation, to explain the program very briefly
Great.
for the benefit of the commission.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commission, Chairman, everybody here. My name's Steve Leeper. I've been driving to Trumbull for 37 years, and that's my career in R&D for consumer commodity products. For the Henkel North American R&D Center, it's going to be located in Trumbull. You could see from the picture on the left side, we have a campus, and the campus is going to expand into 9 Trefoil Drive. The YMCA is right in the middle of us, but we have 30 Trefoil, have a bridge that goes over to 4, and then the crosswalk that goes over to 9. And about 4 or 5 years ago, we were named from the R&D Center of Experience to the Trumbull campus. That was through Henkel. Some of the products you already see posted there, but the laundry division's already there. The home care division's already there. Laundry's in 30 Trefoil. The home care business is in 4 Trefoil. It's been there for 8 years. The laundry care business has been in Trumbull since 2009. We're bringing the hair care division and the dial division, one from Darien, the other one from Stanford, to get it one aligned team instead of being in silos. So we're investing a very large amount of money in this campus to get this group together to come up with these great products and keep on growing.
Now we have Elena Lovegren, who will be our architect of record, to explain what the going on. We're going to go through 4 and then 9, and we won't repeat ourselves.
Good evening. I'm Elena Lovegren with Svigalz & Partners, FCA Architects. As stated, the work in 4 is actually pretty minimal. It's all interior renovation. As Steve noted, this is R&D facility that they currently occupy. The only portions of the building that we are touching are on the interior. On this first floor plan, it's the 2 areas shaded in white. These are existing, excuse me, this is the second floor plan. These are existing labs, and we are just reassigning them to different departments within Henkel. The other piece of scope that we are including in the architectural project is the signage. As mentioned, exterior signage, it's already there today. We are giving it a facelift, making it look a little bit more permanent, more aligned with the other buildings. All 3 buildings will now have the new signage. It is slightly smaller than the one that is there today.
Good evening. For the record, Kevin McCutcheon with Ty and Bond of 213 Court Street, Middletown, Connecticut, professional engineer licensed in the state of Connecticut. Looking at here is the existing conditions plan for 4 Trefoil, which is one of the properties that Henkel currently occupies as a tenant in, and we have very minimal site work on this property. Just for reference, it's in Trefoil Park in the northern part of Trumbull, just off of Route 113. What you'll see here is the proposed site plan. Again, very minimal work here with the main purpose of connecting 30 Trefoil, which is just off the sheet to the north on the north side of the brook that cuts through Trefoil Park. There's an existing pedestrian bridge across that brook. So this is going to provide a pavement-marked crosswalk through the 4 Trefoil site to provide pedestrian improvements, safety improvements. So the employees can go from 30 Trefoil to 4 Trefoil and continue on to the next presentation, which is 9 Trefoil on the south side of Trefoil Drive. These are just pavement markings, not soil disturbance. To accommodate the pavement markings, they're also doing some 90-degree parking on the west side parallel parking to replace 90-degree parking, and that's a safety measure so you don't have vehicles backing towards the crosswalk. So there'll be a safer operation for the vehicles adjacent to the crosswalk, and it'll promote the change to a formal one-way circulation around the site with pavement markings and signage. As mentioned, adding 8 EV parking spaces. There's 6 in the back that are shaded in green on the plan, and 2 in the front of the building. And there's also an added amenity of a smoking shelter that's shaded in blue in the back corner of the building, the top right on the sheet. And highlighted in yellow on the frontage of the sheet is the new building monument sign that Elena pointed out. That's the extent of the site work. We also provided appropriate erosion control plan to go with that. But again, it's minimal disturbance. All the work is confined within the existing pavement. We're not expanding beyond the existing pavement, except for the actual vehicle charging units themselves, which sit on a very small pad. That concludes it for 4 Trefoil.
Okay. Trying to get to 9. Make sure. Just one moment here. I just expanded out, yeah. No. We're not at 9, I'm good.
You're on 9?
Yeah, I'm on 9, so I just need to get it. Oh, there we go. All right. So, Mr. Chairman, that was, and members of the commission, that was 4. As we said before, the police commission has approved the concept recommended to you, the pedestrian crossing. And Steve Leeper, it's basically the same presentation, so you have the same products. We hope you buy some. So, but get the architectural plans, and I'll have Elena explain what they are.
Thank you.
All right. 9 Trefoil, not currently occupied or owned by, or not currently occupied, but recently owned by Henkel. This is an existing 2-story office building. So Henkel's, the work that we're doing is really a full gut renovation on the interior to accommodate Henkel's program. It's an expansion of a lot of stuff that they're doing already at 30 Trefoil and 4 Trefoil, as Steve said, just bringing some new departments from Darien and Stamford so that they have all departments in the one location in Trumbull. At 9 Trefoil, we will have, in addition to some of the R&D lab spaces and supporting office, a large cafeteria that will serve the campus. So getting the crosswalk across Trefoil from 4 was very important. The second floor plan, again, kind of much of the same, a lot of R&D lab space and office space. As the existing office really didn't serve their needs, we are not only removing all the interior partitions, but we are relocating stairs, and the one enclosed stair that you see on the plan here will extend up to the roof. It is in the back side of the building, so the top of the page here is Trefoil Drive. The roof and all of the, the stair and all of the rooftop mechanical equipment will have a screen, privacy screen, which is shown on this plan in that dark, thin dark line, hard to see with all the mechanical equipment. But the majority of the mechanical equipment is actually in that addition that was referenced earlier. It is not occupiable space. It is a utility plant. It is almost an exact replica to what was installed at 4 Trefoil not that long ago. That allowed us to limit the amount of stuff that we have on the roof. So air handlers and chillers will be located essentially behind the building on the bottom right corner of this plan. If you're familiar with the property, we'll call it Plan East, essentially, on the right side of the plan is built into a hill, so that second floor actually exits at grade, and that's where that utility plant will be. So the south elevation that you see on the bottom here shows the two-story portion of the building kind of at the left side, and then as you get to the right, you really only have the second floor that's up there in the back portion of the building, and that's where the utility plant will be, which is what we're showing there. So pretty much aligned with the existing roof line. Similar concept here, where we have some interior signage on this sheet, but the exterior pylon signage is shown at the bottom right to mimic what we're providing at 4, and also went through administrative approval to get at 30, smaller than the signage that is currently on site.
Again, Kevin McCutcheon, hit the highlights on the site plan on 9 Trefoil. So what we're looking at here is a colored up plan showing the existing and the proposed. So what's key here is where the proposed work is actually a reduction in impervious surface on the site from existing to proposed. We're reducing. We're mimicking the existing curb cuts. So there's 2 driveway curb cuts on Trefoil Drive. We're maintaining those, so mimicking the traffic pattern there. So with the reduction in impervious, we're able to provide some site amenities in spite of that. So the Cup Building addition is where there's currently parking. So we're reducing the parking. We're also adding a patio area in the rear of the building, which would be an amenity space off of the cafeteria that Elena mentioned. So it'll be a great exterior space for the employees to use. We're also improving loading docks. So all these site improvements on this next sheet are highlighted. So the patio in blue in the rear of the building, and the expanded improved loading dock area to the left, which is the west of the building. Again, a small smoking shelter in blue in the bottom right of the screen. What's in yellow to the right of the building is what Elena was describing. That's the mechanical equipment addition called Central Utility Plant. Not occupiable space, so it's not an addition that's going to generate more, employee traffic or anything like that. But we'll get that mechanical equipment off the roof. Just to the north of that is chillers. So again, that's mechanical equipment that's going to help serve the building. There'll be also in a little bit north and to the right of that, shaded in light blue, an emergency generator pad.
I'm guessing from this picture, not a lot of Henkel executive smoke.
No.
Where's the smoker room? In the parking lot, in the back, in the woods.
Out in the back.
Yeah, in the woods. There you go.
So, as well as providing 6 electric vehicle parking spaces, 6 of them in the east of the building and 2 out in the front of the building, and bike parking in the front, bike racks in the front as well. And then shaded in red up on Trefoil Drive on the north that's the proposed crosswalk improvements. So that's what connects the campus for this building on the south side of Trefoil Drive, still within the industrial park, but will provide that pedestrian connection to between the 3 buildings. We are proposing new storm drainage throughout the site. There's enough reconfiguration of the parking area to warrant new storm drainage. With the reduction in impervious, we still have some proposed below-ground infiltration, and that's to ensure that we have no increase in peak flow or volume of stormwater runoff off the site. We're also providing water quality structures to meet the water quality requirements, Connecticut deep requirements for stormwater quality discharging the site. Proposed utilities are going to be connected off of Trefoil Drive, with the exception of sanitary service to the sanitary easement to the west of the site. We also provided the photometrics for the new lighting plan for the new parking layout, as well as erosion controls to mitigate for erosion during construction. This graphic here shows the connectivity of 9 Trefoil, which is the southernmost building on the site. The crosswalk across Trefoil, the crosswalk through 4 Trefoil, which is on the northern part of the site, and then just off the sheet is 30 Trefoil where the pedestrian bridge connects. So that shows the pathway of the pedestrians. So we're proposing a RRFB, the rapid flash beacons, at this crosswalk to, Henkel's very, as they should be, very concerned with employee safety. So they want to make sure that they have the most safe crossing available for their employees to navigate between buildings, particularly with the cafeteria being the new addition in the southernmost building, as well as traveling back and forth between for meetings and so forth. So that's been in front of the police commission as previously mentioned. So we're looking to provide those safety enhancements, particularly in the dark times of the year like now. Those will come with lighting improvements we're proposing. So we're working with the town to, since that's in town right-of-way land, working with the town on finalizing the details of that proposed crossing. But
Mr. Chairman, I just have a question. Are you planning on adding to the sidewalks on either side of the crosswalk?
So there'll be on the 9 Trefoil, it'll be from the front entrance of the door straight towards Trefoil with a little jog, but not along Trefoil Drive. It'll be front door to Trefoil and then across Trefoil, and then it'll merge onto the crosswalk that's along the driveway on 4 Trefoil. So we're not doing longitudinal improvements along the roadway. We want to promote the crossing straight across Trefoil Drive for the employees.
Okay. I just keep thinking in an industrial zone, everybody likes to walk around, beyond just back and forth, but
Are they sidewalked on both sides?
I think
There's currently not a sidewalk, but there is a striped shoulder along the edge of the road. I don't have the dimension of the shoulder, but no, there are no sidewalks along either side of the road. I believe for the entire length of Trefoil Drive.
Okay, thank you.
The very last is we're maintaining as much existing landscaping around the perimeter. We're not none of the pavement is beyond the limits of the existing pavement, so we're able to maintain much of the existing landscaping around the perimeter, as well as filling in landscaping within the interior portions of the parking area.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. And with that, that concludes our presentation. I would simply summarize by saying that we appreciate working very closely with town staff over many months in developing this project.
Right.
And we believe we comply with all the site plan requirements for Trefoil, and as well as the site plan and special permit requirements for 9, since we're having research labs going into 9. That's a special permit addition.
So the town planner just gave me the eyes, right, when he asked the sidewalk question.
Yeah.
Because it might have been a miss, but we're not going to jump on it right now, because one of the things that we've done is new builds and major improvements, we require sidewalks. It's you have to eat the elephant, right? We have to begin somewhere. But we understand what you're doing and trying to keep them on the interior, and that's fine. There's no other sidewalks, but any future developments and expansions, we should really think about sidewalking those fronts on all sides. It's only going to help.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Commissioners have any questions before I go to the public? Any questions, Joanna? Karen?
Just a comment, and that, this is probably not something necessarily for tonight, but if for 1 Trefoil, have a sidewalk on that side of the road going up to where the grocery store is going to be, I don't know, down the road somewhere.
Yeah.
Thinking
I mean,
ahead.
that is a good
not
point.
Not for tonight, but
Right.
something to think about.
At some point, there is going to be a grocery store next
Something to
door,
think
and
about.
people may be walking up there, so, All right,
A little ways down the road.
that's a good point. Ms. Hall, anything? No? Okay, anybody here for or against the application want to come up and say a few words? If not, then at this time, I'll take a motion to close. Mr. Deacon, is there a second? Ms. Hall, all in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will take a motion for number 6, which is 4 Trefoil Drive. File 2530 is the first one. We will.
Want to do them one at a time?
Actually, I have to clarify, because I'm going to redo that, because we had 2 at the same time. So I'll take a motion to close file 2530. Mr. Deacon, second. Ms. Hall, again. You're going to second? Okay. All in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'll take a motion to close 2531. Mr. Deacon, Ms. Hall. All in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, good. Now we have 2. Now we'll go back, and we are going to discuss and vote on 2530. I will take a motion from number 6, which is file 2530 at 4 Trefoil Drive.
For both of them?
No, this is just for 4 Trefoil Drive. We
Okay.
have to vote and discuss individually.
So moved.
So moved. Is there a second? Ms. Delvecchio. All right. So we have a motion to approve now for 2530. Are there any comments or questions or discussion on 2530? Nope. And all stipulations are in, Rob. We don't have to have any special stipulations. Everything's already been covered by the town and engineers and everything, right?
For 4, yes.
For 4, okay. All right. Hearing no discussion, all in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great. I will take a motion for 2531.
Motion to approve.
Is there, Mr. Deacon, is there a second? Ms. Hall? Okay. Any comments, questions? No? Rob, anything on this? Any special circumstances that we need to worry about?
For 9?
Yeah, for number 9 Trefoil Drive.
For number 9, just, I don't know if it's a condition, but just the rooftop screening, that's all.
Yeah, I think they put in the presentation that it was going to be part of it, so that's what
Yes.
we're approving, so you can enforce that.
Okay, thank you.
All right? Okay. Any more discussions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Congratulations, thank you for your investing in Trumbull. You find Attorney Rizzio on the way out, explain to him what a brief presentation is. All right, we're taking a 10-minute break, guys.
Congratulations. Jada has it.
Oh, Sujata has it.
Okay, we're back on the record. All right, shh, we're back on the record, guys. All right. This one is 3, right? Okay. So we are going to hear the first 3 in order together. And then, as we've done before, at the end, we will separate them to do whatever business we need to do at the end. I gotta read it. I'm gonna read it in part. Number 1, text amendment. Applicant is 2105, 2125 Reservoir Avenue to create the zone. That is file 2518. Number 2, zone change 2105 and 2125 Reservoir Avenue. It's the zone change to the property. If the zone change is created for the overlay, that's 2519. And number 3 in summation is 2105 and 2125 Reservoir Avenue to have a site plan approval if the 2 in front of it are granted, and that is file 2520. So what we're gonna do is, I have a little half a speech, but name and address for the record. We'll let Rob give us an update, and I'm going to put my 2 cents in, which is literally short, and then it's yours.
For the record, I'm attorney Stephen Bellis. I represent the applicant on all 3 of these applications, 2105-2125 Reservoir Avenue, LLC.
Thank you. Rob, updates, changes?
Yep, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As discussed at the last meeting, there was some questions and concerns with these 3 applications. The applicant, as such, has submitted revised site plan, floor plans, photometric plan, and a landscaping plan. They also submitted front elevations of the proposed project, including the house and what the buildings would look like in the rear of the what the one building would look like in the rear of the property. The applicant also did update the text amendment, which everybody should have a copy of as well too. We did get a letter from the fire marshal with the modifications that were made to the site plan. The modifications were that the building be moved a little bit closer so there's more circulation for the trucks. She didn't want, if there was an issue with a vehicle underneath the parking area, for the fire apparatus to have to go somewhere, possibly underneath the building and just around it. So they did accommodate that and move the building further forward to allow that use. As such, I believe the building did get, it's now 3 stories high, right? Yeah, so it's 3 stories now rather than 2, so that there's, so the building gets shrunk in and that allows for more circulation. So other than that.
It's 3 stories on top of a parking garage, so it's technically 4 to the eye, right?
Correct.
All right, that's it?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right, my 2 cents. We've had a bunch of modifications and changes, which is fine, and a lot of cooperation since the last time to this time. You guys have done what they asked, and we asked. Especially the fire marshal was a big thing. So, couple things. Tonight, I would like to hear a presentation on the changes. This is what we did, this is what it was, here's what it is now, so that it can be digested by the commissioners. And commensurate on the input from the commissioners or the public at large, and amongst ourselves, if we have any questions, we may close the hearing tonight, or we may ask for an extension, depending on what comes up as we go through. So those are the 2 possibilities as we get to the end. All right?
It's fine with me.
All yours.
Okay. So as the chair has said, the first thing I'll start with, because it makes sense, is the text amendment. And basically, what we did was we created an overlay zone. So that means it floats over the existing zone. And if you meet the requirements in the text amendment, then it would land, and you can make the zone change application. So in this particular, I had originally submitted a text amendment, and there were a couple changes that needed to be made. I think one was in B. If you have it in front of you, it would be 2B. For some reason, I left out the word public water, so I just put it back in. I don't know what happened. That was an oversight on my part, maybe a typo. The second is the street location in C. I had that the RAD must be in a residential zone A south of Route 15 and with an address on Reservoir Avenue. What we did was we added that this will be considered a transit-oriented district, TOD, development as per House Bill 8002, as it is located within a half mile of a bus stop. This will enable the town of Trumbull to apply for a quarter-point credit per each unit towards their affordable housing goal. That was something that the legislature just passed. That was the bill that you may have heard the governor did in fact sign, and it becomes applicable in July. You would get that credit once there was a CO issued. So that was added, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, for
I
the
think
record,
that's to help the town.
for the record, I've asked for the highlight points, and the bill is several hundred pages, so it's going to take the attorneys here a while to digest.
Yeah,
You know,
I
you may
understand
have
that.
pulled that part out, and you may be accurate,
Yeah.
but we haven't vetted that yet here, and they're in the process of vetting that along
Yeah.
with any and all the other implications
Oh,
for
no,
us.
yeah.
Just so you know.
But the reason I included it was to help the
That's
town.
fine.
Yeah. Another change, after speaking with staff, we lowered the height in E of the building. It used to be 65 feet. Now it's 45 feet, with an allowance of 5 additional feet if needed for any roof structures that would screen utilities. On the stormwater management plan, I had crossed out little number 2, has to do with the town engineer giving an opinion. He just gives comments. That was my mistake. Normally, it gets sent to him for staff comments. He doesn't have to give an opinion, so I just wrote that up wrong. So I crossed it out. Those are the changes that were made in the text amendment. So everything else has stayed the same. There's a maximum density of 50 units. We did add 70% of the units being one bedroom. That was in the old version. The roads are still private, and the amount of land needed for this project is the same, between 1 and 5 acres.
Attorney Ballas, if I may, just as we discussed previously, so the text amendment that was submitted previously was posted with the town clerk's office to comply with notice. So these proposed changes will be amendments that the commission would have to consider?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, counsel.
Yeah. The next thing that I can briefly talk about is, well, I don't think that there's any changes to the zone change itself. There would be some changes to the site plan. The zone change would only be applicable, and we have requested a zone change if the commission obviously approved the text amendment. The only thing I can say I should say for the record on the text amendment is that it does comply with the 2014 plan of development. I looked at the plan of development, and on page 61, one of the stated goals was to encourage housing affordable to working families and single individuals. I think that these apartments, being mostly 70% of them being one bedroom, would more likely than not appeal to single individuals or to those that are working. And if the town can get credit, so be it for the affordable housing. The overlay zone also complies with the plan of development in allowing market forces to have alternatives other than single-family homes. That's on page 64. So I think the spirit of this text amendment is in compliance with your plan of development. On the site plan, That's still by special exception. Those kinds of changes were, I think, highlighted by Rob, but I'll go over a little bit of them. So one of them was that we have 34 one-bedrooms and 14 two-bedrooms. There's 88 parking spaces. I think I mentioned the height of the building is 42 feet, and there's a 3.5-foot parapet to hide the utilities if they're on the roof. The building was moved forward so that, as Rob had stated, a fire truck can get access behind the building. Obviously, it's still going to be sprinklered. There was a plan for lighting added. There was a plan for plantings added. We have some renditions, or I call them renderings. Steve, do you want to go over that? That were requested by the commission.
Good evening, Stephen Shapiro, 20 Virginia Drive, Easton, Connecticut. For the record, just briefly wanted to show a couple renderings here. So this is the viewpoint if you're on Reservoir Avenue. The existing house is being moved up to the front to kind of screen, and then there's some evergreen trees there where you're only going to see a little bit of that building if you're actually standing right in front of the house on Reservoir. If you're driving by, probably not going to see much of it. And again, with the evergreens, it'll have year-round coverage to kind of screen it from the road. I also did a more close-up of the building here. So you've got parking underneath, and then the 3 stories to the roof height here is 42. Then there's the 3.5-foot parapet, as Attorney Bellis mentioned there, to screen any utilities there. So we did provide landscaping plan, which will show the trees on there, along with lighting plan and other items that were mentioned last time. I'm happy to, I was going to talk a little bit about the new housing bill and how every town can get more credit now if it's by transit. We're within 800 feet approximately of not 1 but 2 bus stops. It is 104 pages, as you said, Mr. Chairman. It is a long bill, but I'm happy to, it's all on one page. I could email it over to staff and help you guys out. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Steve. On this, I just wanted to mention briefly, and on the zone change, I have to give a statement as to why it would be applicable. As Rob says, we did get WPCA approval. There is sewer capacity. We do have an approval from the Police Commission. We did submit a report from a soil scientist. There's no wetlands on this site, so we don't have to go to wetlands. Our engineer has submitted a stormwater management report. I call it a drainage report. It will comply with the Connecticut MS4 standards for stormwater runoff. We hired a traffic engineer, and he performed a traffic study that projects 19 trips in the morning, additional trips, I should say, and 24 additional trips in the afternoon from this particular site. He characterized it as the impact being limited. He also did all traffic, he did the levels of service at nearby intersections and found that they will operate at least at a level of service of C or better, and that all the conditions were adequate and safe for traffic as far as he was concerned, and he gave his opinion in that report. I have both the traffic engineer here, and I also have the engineer on the project with the stormwater and the site work, and the site plans if you have any questions of them. So those are the changes, Mr. Chair, that we did after having some discussions with staff, and we hope that we made it a better project.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I just had a question for the traffic engineer. I don't know if that's...
Go right ahead.
Okay. The new development, the new revisions said 88 parking spaces now. I believe it was 108 parking spaces before. Are you still going to meet the requirements?
Is it 80?
Yeah. It's 88 now, he's right.
Yeah, everything from the microphone, guys.
Oh, I'm sorry, it is 88 units. I'm sorry, 88 parking spaces.
Okay. I think because the last one had 108, but now,
Yeah, I think because we moved the building.
and with the circulation and everything, we had to take a few
With the
parking spaces.
fire
Okay.
marshal,
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any questions from commissioners before we go to the public? Ms. Hallguy?
Well, you mentioned, so 50 units and 70% of them would be one bedroom. And you said 14 would be two bedrooms?
Yeah, so maybe I didn't, I was, at first when I said 50, it can be, in the text amendment, it could be no more than 50, but in the actual proposal that we're proposing it, we're at 48.
48, okay.
That's maybe why your math isn't adding up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That's it. Karen? You want me to come back there?
No, I'm okay. I'm good for now. Thank you.
Mr. Crow?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So if we go along with this text amendment, it looks like it's being done as a transit-oriented district. I mean, should it be named as such, do you think?
I didn't want to be presumptuous and name it the transit-oriented district because it doesn't apply to the whole town. You know, it only applies for those properties that are below Route 15 and on Reservoir Avenue. So that's why I kind of selected a different name.
And looked like this would cover about a half-mile stretch of Reservoir Avenue. And top half of that is already basically developed, right? Various types of,
Yeah, I would agree with that.
yeah, high-density housing with various overlay zones. So we're really dealing with the area, maybe a quarter-mile Lindeman Drive approximately and below.
Yeah,
right?
I think you're correct. Yeah.
So when I looked at the map on that, that's about 15 acres, looked to be about 16 properties, about 15 acres.
The way I wrote it, it had to also have an address on Reservoir Avenue. I thought there were a lot fewer properties that could actually utilize this. I thought there was, the way I counted it, about approximately 3.
3?
I believe so.
From Lindeman Drive down to Old Town?
It's got to be 1 to 5 acres.
Yeah, oh, that's it. It has to be 1 to 5 acres.
Right, but we still have
Save that.
15 acres of property that could potentially be combined, right?
Oh, I didn't, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that's the way I'm looking at it. So,
I looked at it as who owned it now, yeah.
right. I mean, right now you're combining some properties, right?
We have.
You're combining 2 properties?
Yeah, 2 of them, I believe,
Right. yeah. So if we have the potential of 50 units for every acre, worst case scenario, that's about 750 units.
The text amendment only allows a maximum, so that if someone wanted to come in with a zone change and special exception, they would have to show you why that would fit, you know.
Right, but that's the way it's written, right? It could be up to 50 units. It's
Yeah, the
1
maximum-
to 5 acres.
Yeah.
So worst case scenario, you could have 15 1 acres with 50 units.
Yeah, but
Right?
theoretically, the answer would be yes. But I don't think in reality that would happen.
Yeah, reality probably not, but I'm just
Yeah. Well,
trying
theoretically, I
to
think
work it
yeah.
out for worst
Yeah.
case scenario, so we know, you know, worst case scenario is worst case, so anything that happens should be less. And those could all be potentially 25% of those then could count towards our affordable housing
I
goals,
think
right? Or the 25%
Yeah, I think it's a
HUE credit.
I think you're right. You said the
Right.
same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So another question is, some of the regulations I've read, and I don't know what the new one says, you can't have too high of a concentration of your affordable housing all in one place. Do we have any risk, and like through the chair, our own council?
There's
is
no
there any risk?
affordable there
Yeah.
now. There's no affordable there now.
Right, but is there the potential that we could focus too much affordable housing in that one area through this, you know,
I would
proposal?
I would answer that and say that's a good question for when it comes up. Because right now, that area has 0. And the only place it used to be was Avalon, and they're 25-year ticked, so they're not anymore.
Okay. And I'm not aware, and if there is one, let me know, Mr. Chairman. I'm not aware of any overlay zone that kind of spot zones an entire road right now. I mean, most of the overlay zones are, they could be anywhere in town, you know, not road-based.
I think some of your terminology, the word spot zone is kind of up for legal interpretation. It depends on how you'd like to interpret it at that moment and which side you're on. But spot zoning is usually laser specific. But because this was worked on with staff and with the applicant to incorporate an area, so it wasn't spot zoning. That's the reason it is for an area. So it's specifically not spot zoning.
So, you know, if we were to move forward with this proposal, do we kind of set a precedent that we could have these same sort of zones on other roads?
So the precedent isn't the right word. We live in the state of Connecticut. Okay, that's what we have to deal with. That's what we're dealing with on every application and anybody who comes until the town of Trumbull, if and when, meets the ability to put a moratorium on, because we live in a world and in a state where we are subject to any developers coming in and saying that they would like to present an application. Generally, they do A and B. They do what they'd prefer first, and if not, they'll offer us what is larger and more dense that we cannot stop. So we are in one of those applications now, where it is the lesser of two evils, to use a horrible metaphor, but that's where we are. It's in an area where it's not designed for high-density housing, but we have an application for it in lieu of something that would be even more intense, that because of the state regulations, even with the new bill, we could not prevent. And as we all see, we read in the paper every day, our sister towns around us are getting hundreds and hundreds of apartments approved in areas that can't be stopped. So precedent is not the word, it is the atmosphere and the process that we live within.
Right, but we could potentially then have other roads where we could, you know, someone could propose the
We
same
could
thing, right?
potentially do this every month for the rest of our careers, okay?
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's all my questions. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Cousins. Mr. Deacon.
Okay. Let's start with the easy ones. I read that in G1 that it says there's parking for 1-bedroom and studio and 2-bedroom apartments. Are we to assume that there will be no 3-bedroom apartments?
That is correct.
Okay. Next question is about setbacks. Now, while the fact that the property directly north to you is the next application plays no role in this question, I nonetheless bring up that you have a 0-foot setback, which means you can build onto the property line. Is that for improvements or for the building itself? Are you requesting the ability to build on the property line? Because that's what a 0-foot setback would be.
There might be such things as walls, retaining walls, and that sort of thing, that it would not be the building.
Okay. There would be an issue to have to cross into somebody else's property, maintain it, but that's all right. Next question was about the transit-oriented district. So there are a lot of bus stops in Trumbull, and sometimes in somewhat random places. So according to HB 8002, that means that any lot within a half a mile of the bus stop would qualify as a TOD, a transit-oriented district, should it wish to be applied as such? That's a pretty wide swath of land. There's a lot of places within half a mile of a bus stop.
Counselor, do you mind?
No.
Yeah. So, Commissioner Deacon, I don't know that the transit-oriented district is sort of a defined term. There's certain things that it has to qualify for. It is a new bill. I'm not even pretending to be an expert in it, but I've read a little bit. So I don't know that what is before you will qualify as a transit-oriented district. I believe that the applicant's intent is to designate some of their units as affordable, and the commission may consider another alternative than the transit-oriented district, or we need to be certain that if that is a possibility, we clearly understand what that is. And I don't know that we have all that information right now. It's unlikely, from my read, that a bus stop makes you a transit-oriented site. So I do think there's more to that, but we could get back to that with further details.
Okay, so that 0.25 credit per unit, is that on top of any? Okay.
I don't think you're going to get that. Again, that's why we need the full legal opinion after the reading. If there was an affordable project, did you also get credit for the apartments that aren't affordable if they happen to be within the parameters of the definition in this new bill? That's a good question. You're not going to get that answer here tonight, but it's a good question.
Okay. And final point, as we look at the map, it's, I believe, 1.68 acres of land, somewhere in the 1 to 2 range, certainly we can agree on. There are, of course, numerous properties in the area that could either independently or be united, as the good Mr. Kroll said, to apply for more. Are they going to come with 700? Theoretically, yes. In reality, probably not. But it does raise the question of, and perhaps precedent is not the right term, but that overlay zones are now possible. And Reservoir Avenue, okay, perhaps it meets the requirements. Maybe it doesn't. At least it's a, whatever side you're on, it's a valid, there is a corridor there. We can agree on that. But where does this definition of a corridor end? Is it main arteries? Is it smaller thoroughfares? Does suddenly what one might consider a low traffic road suddenly qualify for, well, it's not in the red, it's not in the reservoir district, but perhaps someone's going to apply for a new district, maybe your street, maybe my street. What is the criteria that we're even considering this? Because Reservoir Avenue, we say, okay, it's a relatively main road, but it's not a state road. You can't bring trucks under it because the Parkway Bridge is too low.
Attorney Cordone can maybe chime in, but corridor is generally more an area than having variable definitions. As he just explained, the new transit definition has added must variables, right? A corridor can be an area. And one of the benefits of planning and zoning, when you need a special permit and things are a little undefined, they allow planning and zoning to define it and say, we don't think it meets it, or we think it does. It's almost, you can use it to your advantage rather than a disadvantage in your interpretation.
Right. When something comes and is by right, once, let's say this application passes, then the third step by right, they get it not automatically, and there's a special permit process, but we know it's basically automatic.
Not if you showed up and said, I don't think this meets the definition of a corridor because of X, Y, and Z. You'd put that argument. I'm living in the hypotheticals that you're presenting.
Right. It's something the commission should consider. Should this pass, where is the next street, where is the next neighborhood that could be considered for this level of high-density
I
development?
would reference you to 7 minutes ago in the answer I gave Mr. Crow.
Then the whole town should be concerned.
Absolutely, 100%. The whole town should be concerned every day. 100% you are accurate.
And in 20 years, or whenever we're still here, or someone else is here, will we still be a proactive commission? Or will we be relegated to a reactive, almost advisory status?
You bring up great points. You should run for state office.
We both did.
Anything else? No. All right. Everybody else set? Okay. At this time, I would like to hear from the public. If there's anybody here to speak for or against the application, come on up. It doesn't matter either one. Name and address for the record. Come on up.
I'd like to submit my application to
Sure.
commission.
Abigail, that's you when they say I have a submission.
Okay.
All right, name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Edmund Gitari. My address is 2095 Reservoir Avenue. So we are the property right adjacent to the development that is
Okay.
proposed. We have a few, as per our submission here, we have a few objections on a lot of the topics that the commission has raised here. And one of the key words we've had today is precedent. And I want to start with that. From our review, within a radius of about 250 feet of the proposed property development, from our review, there's about 3 properties that are within the what we are calling the Reservoir Apartment District Overlay Zone that would meet the criteria that is being proposed here. We have 2155, which is 2.8 acres. There is 2090 Reservoir Avenue, which is 1.5 acres, and 1990 Reservoir Avenue, which is 1.3 acres. So granting this application would mean that, the word that has been mentioned a little bit around in the last few minutes, precedent, would allow all these properties to come and apply to the commission, and I don't know how the commission would deny these same applications. If they came and said, this is right across from our street, and said, we want to have a 50-unit apartment, and granting this application today would mean you don't have any grounds to deny the next application.
Yeah, so this is going under our special permit process. So even if 3-4 people got together and put their properties and wanted to come, special permit means we have more leeway than just right of granting. Because we can say the traffic is too much. We can say the line of sight is not right. You understand? We have more opportunity. It's not automatic. It's just so you know.
I agree. I agree it's not automatic, but the precedent you're setting is saying, the text amendment is saying anybody who is below the Route 15 who has a 1-acre property, unless you're saying this is specifically designed for this property, because anybody who has a property beyond greater than an acre who is below the Route 15, the text amendment is saying you can come and apply, and the commission or the town has allowed dispensation to say that you can be allowed an apartment block, unless you're saying this is specifically designed for this property. So that's our submission. And without prejudice to the next agenda item, there's a property who's already come to the commission, and it's coming up shortly with a similar application for 150 units. So very quickly, Reservoir Avenue will be apartment after apartment after apartment. My property and our neighbors, together we come, if we, whatever happens and we come together, sell to each other or whatever, could easily become another property that meets the criteria for the text amendment.
Right.
So that's our first objection for the text amendment. The next thing is spot zoning, which has been mentioned by the commission here. Granting the application will be out of harmony with the residential. If you go with this without saying you're doing precedent, if this application was only granted for this particular property, then you deny everybody else, then all of a sudden it's out of character with the neighborhood. So if you don't grant the property that's coming after this application, then you'll have apartment blocks out of character with all our neighborhood. Everybody will be single dwelling, and then you have this huge apartment block right in the neighborhood. Unless the commission comes and opens up and says, you know, the zone A is now expanded for all neighborhood opportunities where people can have a different development plan, then I think it would be out of character with our the neighborhood. The developer mentioned the plan of conservation and development of 2014. They quoted that in their submission earlier. And when you look at that, when I looked at it earlier, it says the preferred development plan is not to have, it is preferred that the planned affordable housing developments are located at least 1 mile apart. This, in our neighborhood right now, there is a multifamily, there's another multifamily age restricted or affordable housing developments that are within 0.5 miles of the proposed development. So if they're leaning onto this 2014 plan of conservation and development, then we should also look into it and say it also advises that we should not have this multi-family and high density developments within 0.5 miles. So if you're double-edged sword, if you're leaning on that plan of conservancy, then you should also lean on it on the other recommendations from it. Our other submission is adverse impact on health, safety, welfare, and public services. Our children who are right here today with us go to Hillcrest Middle School. They are picked up in the morning at 6:40 in the morning. They do not get to school until 7:25. A distance of less than 2 miles is taking them 45 minutes to get to school. I'm concerned with this development. We are concerned with this development, and the one that's coming up to the commission in a few minutes will increase the density of the demand on the public service, and suddenly either we'll need more public school buses to deliver the kids to school, because this is 48 units, 50 units, the next one is 150 units. Suddenly we have more kids needing to be delivered to school on the same route. And with those submissions, I think we want to object to this development, and I'll reserve our comments, which are similar to the next one as well. So just.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else to speak for or against? No? All right. So one of the things I'll remind the folks that made comments, unfortunately, as you heard me talk to Commissioner Krull, we live in the state of Connecticut. We don't have the same options when applicants come and present high density in the town for affordable housing possible developments. And in many cases, and including specifically this one, they come with alternatives. We can do this one, or we can do this one. So many of your points, while they make a point, the town is working with an applicant to get the lesser of the impact than what we could have no authority and no ability to stop if we didn't work towards this one application. That's the problem that we face, just like the towns around us. So anyway, any others? So I'm gonna go ahead, Yum.
So we've looked at this a few times, and I thought there was a part of this that there's a certain percentage had to be affordable. Where did that?
So a couple things are going on. Yes.
Yeah.
In one of the revs in the beginning. And then they came and they discussed how in the new housing bill, we would receive some level of credit because of the new measuring distances, which I explained that Attorney Cordone and some of the other town attorneys are going through the law to pull out and extract the reality of the positives and negatives for the town of Trumbull, which would directly impact and support or prevent this application as well, right? We don't have all of that. So one of the things that I'm about to say is we're going to allow Attorney Bellis to come up, and he can either give a short closing or he can give the full closing. But what I would like to do is keep the hearing open. I'm not going back to public comment. I would like to keep the hearing open because we're not going to vote tonight. So it's only to your advantage if you agree to keep the hearing open so that everything that we have today can be digested, right? And any other questions that the commissioners have to go to Rob, and then Rob can get answers from the applicant. And then, because everything is public for a public hearing, those questions and answers would be discussed at the opening of the next meeting, and then that's when we would close it. Because what I don't want to do is cut you short or hurt the commissioners and all this effort that you guys have done for somebody to say, I'm not really sure of this.
Yeah,
You know?
I agree with the chair, and I am not going to give a closing tonight. And,
Okay.
Yeah, I'll keep it open, and
One of the things I would appreciate from you, though, if you had, like, the bullet points of your closing, only because the full digest is going to happen between now and the next meeting. Your closing at the next meeting is not going to add or subtract from what they already kind of have made up their mind on the way in that. So anything you'd like to put some dressing on this, that would be good. If not, I'm okay. As long as you're comfortable, I am. I'm just mentioning my own thoughts.
Listen, I think you all know, you've seen me up here a few times on this application. I'm trying to work with the staff and with council to make this the best project that we can. And that's why you saw some of these changes, as this commissioner pointed out. And if there's any other suggestions, I'm open to them. That's all I can say.
All right. So do we need a motion to continue?
We do. Attorney Bell said, just for the record, we determined there was an extension of time at the last meeting. There's 39 days left of additional extension time to have it carry over to our next meeting in January. On January 21st, you would be granting an additional 28 days of extension time, and you are consenting to that for the record.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Attorney.
All right.
Is your next meeting January 21st? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. The third Wednesday, unless it's a holiday.
Yeah.
Fourth? Third Wednesday unless it's a holiday. And that's January 21st.
Okay, that's fine with me.
Cool. All right, and we're set for tonight on this one. All right. Motion to continue the hearing to next month. Mr. Deacon, seconded. Ms. Delvecchio, all in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you. Anybody need 5 minutes, or can we go right into this application?
We have questions or concerns.
We have questions or concerns, they go to Rob in an email, and then Rob can file them up, and then we'll go over, he'll get answers. And any answers you get, Rob, or any questions, answers to any single commissioner's question should go to all commissioners. This question, you don't even have to say by who, this question was asked, and here was the answer for everybody's benefit. And any changes you guys make or get or clarifications. All right, I got an agenda in here somewhere. All right, we are now at what numbers are we on? 4 and 5, or just number 5? Okay, number 5, 2135, 2145, 2155 Reservoir Avenue. Applicant Vessel Holdings LLC requesting site plan approval for the development of 2 apartment buildings totaling 150 units pursuant to Section 830G of the Connecticut General Statutes and Article 2, Section 2.3 of the Town of Trumbull zoning regs, file 2529. Again, you have probably heard it all night. Name and address for the record, and then we go to staff with an overview, and then we'll come back to you. You can pull the microphone up, talk right into it, name and address for the record, and then we'll go to staff.
Okay. Hey, good evening, everyone. For the record, my name is Jay Klein. I'm a partner at Carmody, Torrance, Sandak, and Hennessy with offices at 1055 Washington Boulevard in Stamford. We're all here collectively on behalf of the applicant that you mentioned. We've got Kyle Stein, one of the principals at Vessel. We've got Luke Morrow, our project engineer, my associate Madison Smith, seated in front of you, and a broker on our team, Paul Timpanelli, who's seated beside me as well.
All right, we'll go to staff and then we'll come back for your presentation.
Great.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This application in front of you tonight, usually I have in my staff report that they went through the gambit of other commissions. At this point, this application still needs to get approval through WPCA, and they are still in conversations with our fire marshal right now. So, as of right now, I don't have a full staff report.
So I'm going to pause you and then let you go back, just for the commissioners.
Yep.
One of the things that we've done here over the last more than a decade is require applicants to have all all other commissions' approvals before planning and zoning, because this is the final project approval. But this applicant has the 830G invoked, so they have the ability for the 65-day no matter what. And so we are on the clock so we can hear them. They are going to be subject to that, but we have to go through and, we can keep it open till next month, the same way we did with the other one. But that's why we're going forward, because of the 830G status and not having the ability to say, we want to wait. They have the ability to say, we want to go forward. Go ahead, Rob.
Just as the chairman said, so with WPCA still reviewing and the fire marshal still doing her review, there's too many variables for me to do a full staff report. So I would just ask this commission just to look at the application, listen to it, and just get an understanding for what's in front of you, and then hopefully this application more likely is going to get continued as well too, and they're going to kind of tighten everything up, and that by next meeting I'll have more of a concrete report for you and the staff. Thank you.
Awesome. Good evening. My name is Kyle Stein, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Vessel Technologies. Thank you for the time and care you've put into reviewing this application, and to town staff for your collaboration over the past few months. As a commission, you have an important technical role. You review the design, the engineering, the site plan, and the details that ensure this project works safely and responsibly. Tonight, you'll hear from our civil engineer, Luke Morrow, who will walk through those elements clearly. But your role goes beyond technical review. All right, just change the slide on here. Sorry. The decisions you make here shape what Trumbull becomes over time. What kind of homes are built, who they're available to, and whether people who work here can realistically live here as well. Speaking personally for a moment, I'm part of a generation that has spent years searching for housing that is close to work, reasonably priced, and actually available. In towns like Trumbull, that combination is increasingly hard to find, even for people with steady jobs who want to put down roots. That's why this moment matters. This isn't just about one site. It's about whether Trumbull can keep up with changing housing needs and continue to be a place where people can live, work, and stay. Housing has changed, household sizes have changed, and the cost of housing has risen dramatically. Responding to that reality does not mean leaving Trumbull's values behind. It means applying them in a way that works today. New ideas can feel unfamiliar, but unfamiliar does not mean untested, and new does not mean risky. What matters is whether something works. Vessel builds real housing in real towns for real people. In New London, our community is fully leased with a 98% resident renewal rate. In Cheshire, where our next building is about to open, more than 400 people have expressed interest in just 70 homes, including firefighters and police officers who want to live in the communities they serve. When Trumbull was founded, its leaders had the vision to create the community it's become today, and now you have the opportunity to guide its future. With that, I'll pass it over to Luke Morrow to go over the more technical details of the application. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the commission. For the record, my name is Luke Morrow. I'm a professional engineer in the state of Connecticut with Soli Engineering, office at 501 Main Street in Monroe, Connecticut, and I'm also a professional traffic operations engineer as well. I'm going to, as briefly as I can, go through the site plan and landscape architecture elements of our design, and we'll touch on traffic as well. So just to get everyone, I believe we've discussed this with some other applications tonight, but just so everyone's clear, the address is here, 2135 to 2155 Reservoir Avenue, 3 total parcels situated on just over 3.5 acres on the west side of Reservoir Avenue, just south of the industrial development on Fenneman Road. The house is currently occupied by 3 single-family residences and also a contractor yard, which you can see as that large kind of gravel area kind of in the center of that yellow property line there. There is access to public water and public sewer within Reservoir Avenue. It is in a mile radius some other multifamily developments, Woodside, the Royce, and 10 Trumbull as well. Site survey. So the site, as I mentioned, is currently occupied by 3 single-family residences located on the east side of the screen. Up is page north. And there's also a contractor yard located on the west side of the property. Each of the single residences have their own separate access drive onto Reservoir Drive, and 2145, I believe, actually has a half-moon shape, and they have 2 curb cuts onto Reservoir Avenue. There are no wetlands, and there's no floodplains located on the property. Site plan, as we have kind of described, but we'll go into more detail on that. So the project would consist of demolition of the existing on-site residences, the contractor storage yard, would be the construction of 2 5-story multifamily residential buildings with a total of 150 units. That's 122 single beds or studio units, if you will, and 28 2-bedroom units. And that's broken out by 80 units on the west side of the site and then 70 units on the east side of the site. Both of those would have 14 2-bedroom units apiece, with the remaining 122 units.
It's a good drawing. Let me ask you a question. There's no outside amenities, patios, anything, nothing for human life?
There's a lot of open passive amenity space.
Open passive amenities.
Yes, there is
Somebody
a lot of
write
green
that down. Somebody write that down.
There's a lot of green space in the property for passive amenities. There's no specific playground or anything to that.
No patios, nothing.
There's no patio envisioned at this time as part of amenities.
Passive amenities. I like that. Was good. That's going to come back.
It's open green space for you to feel free to do what you will. So just to speak numbers, that's 19% 2-bedroom units and 81% studio units. We won't get too much into it, but ideally these are suited for more up-and-coming members of the community, maybe couples, engaged couples or newlywed couples, but mostly for young professionals. We would anticipate mostly single occupancy. The eastern building, although does not have to comply with zoning regulations, is set back 87 feet from Reservoir Avenue, where the setback is required setback is 50 feet. So we're almost doubly, the building is set back almost double the amount that's required per the zoning regulations. There will be a single driveway servicing both buildings in the northeast corner of the property.
What did the fire marshal say about the access to the back of the second building?
The fire marshal has reviewed, we actually had a meeting with her a couple weeks ago. She has reviewed. The comment we had regarding access was that she just wanted to make sure we can, and I will get to that on the next slide, she just wanted to make sure that we ran the specific ladder truck for the town of Trumbull. So we have programmed those dimensions into our software, and I'll present that on the next slide. But as far as access concerns, the ability for the truck to get access to site, as far as we're aware, as long as we can show the truck working with the specific spec for the Trumbull Fire Department, she was okay with it. So single driveway servicing both on the northeast corner of the property. Each building pad will have its own separate screened-in dumpster enclosure. There's a total of 178 parking spaces provided for both buildings. That meets the parking requirements per Connecticut Statute 8-30G for a single parking space for each single bed unit and 2 parking spaces for each double bed unit. We'll have the required number of total ADA accessible parking spaces near the front door of each of the buildings. And then we'll also have the required number of EV-ready parking spaces per state regulations, which would be 15 total EV-ready parking spaces. As was mentioned or questioned, there will be large green spaces for passive recreation. There's a large triangular swath on the north side of the parking lot for recreation, and there's also a larger green area just located on the east side of the western building as well. In terms of the truck turning, as mentioned, we did review this with the fire marshal. The top turning template plan has now been revised per the fire marshal's comments to show the actual ladder truck specs they provided us for the largest aerial truck. So we are showing, and we did submit that back to the fire marshal for her review this afternoon. She also asked that we stripe a couple no parking loading zones areas adjacent to each of the building to make sure that those are kept clear in the event that there was an emergency call to the building. Although an official letter of sign-off hasn't been granted, we do believe we have addressed her comments, but we'll wait for her to confirm that. For what it's worth, as part of the record, we also did submit a letter of building and fire code compliance from Joe Versteeg as part of our application documents. We'll go briefly through the rest of the engineering. We did submit a grading and drainage design, and also detailed stormwater management or engineering report for review by the engineering, city engineering department, the town engineering department, sorry. Drainage has been designed in compliance with the 2024 Stormwater Quality Manual, also the 2004 Connecticut DOT Drainage Manual. Grading has been designed to mimic the existing drainage patterns. Generally, site slopes from the southwest corner towards the northeast corner, and will continue to do so in the proposed instance. Runoff from both of the buildings and the majority of the large parking lot in between both of the buildings will be treated by a hydrodynamic separator before it flows into an above-ground detention pond that's located on the east side of the property in the vicinity of Reservoir Avenue. And then runoff from the smaller parking lot just to the north of the eastern building. That'll also be collected and treated through a series of catch basins. We'll run through a hydrodynamic separator to clean the runoff before it ultimately flows into a secondary, smaller, above-ground detention pond in the northeast corner of the property. Those will combine. Outflow from both of those ponds will be controlled by an outlet control structure, and ultimately they'll flow together before outletting to a head wall in the northeast corner of the property. There are no proposed new drainage connections to the town of Trumbull-owned system in Reservoir Avenue. So there should be no additional burden on any town stormwater facilities. The requirements of the latest 2024 Connecticut Stormwater Quality Manual require that we retain and infiltrate 100% of the required stormwater quality volume, which is basically the amount of water that equates to 1.3 inches of the total impervious coverage on the site. And those have been sized accordingly to allow them to perk back into the ground and recharge the groundwater table. Go through soil erosion and sediment control quickly. We have a 2-phased soil erosion sediment control plan. One is for demolition of the existing on-site structures and pavement areas and rough grading. And we'll have a second phase of our of our soil erosion sediment control plan, which will be for final grading and then all the above ground site work that needs to be installed as part of the development. The plans have been designed in accordance with the latest 2024 guidance for soil erosion and sediment control. The measures include stabilized construction entrances at the entrance to stop any vehicle tracking onto Reservoir Avenue or any other town facilities, temporary stockpile area to control soil migration, topsoil, other soil that's stockpiled during mass earthwork excavations, silt fence along the low-lying areas to prevent any soil migration off the site onto neighboring properties, and then temporary drainage swales with stone check dams that will direct water to temporary sediment traps during construction. And finally, a silt sack inlet protection to make sure any existing drainage structures within the roadway and any proposed drainage structures that are installed throughout construction don't get inundated with sediment while construction is ongoing. In terms of utilities, the site is serviced by public utilities. We do have Vessel operates on all electric heating system. There's no need for any fossil fuels. There's no proposed natural gas connection or oil needed to heat the buildings. There will be separate water and sewer connections for each building from Reservoir Avenue. We did receive a will serve letter from Aquarian, which I believe has been submitted for the record. And we also did recently receive a will serve letter from UI as well, indicating they do have electrical capacity to service the development. It is worth noting we did submit in the beginning of November, so it's been about 6 weeks. And there has been, well, I guess today's meeting was canceled, but there has been, we've been expecting WPCA comments. We've not yet heard of them or received them, but we have been continuously following up with Bill to see if there's any comments we can address prior to the meeting in January. In terms of landscaping, we have a detailed landscaping plan. It's been designed with drought-resistant plantings, 100% native tree species, eliminating the need for any type of irrigation to conserve water. A series of red maple trees proposed along the site frontage on Reservoir Avenue, kind of shelter the building view from the neighbors and from Reservoir Avenue. There's pin oaks scattered throughout the parking lot, and then a mix of black tupelos and red cedars for some screening along the northern property line. All disturbed areas will be landscaped or reseeded to establish new lawn areas, native low-maintenance wildlife mixes in the areas that are not anticipated for recreational usage. And then the detention ponds have been seeded with a specialty seed for erosion control on the slopes and a wet mix that is used specifically for inundation during rain events. And then here's just a planting palette. You can see the red maples that will be located. That's the top left corner along the site frontage. Green normally throughout the year, they turn red in the fall. And then the pin oaks in the middle, top throughout the parking lot, and then the black tupelo and the eastern cedar along the northern property line. And then along the buildings themselves, there'll be some ornamental grasses, as you can see in the bottom two pictures on the right-hand side. In terms of lighting plan, the lighting design, it's designed with energy efficient, solar, LED site lighting. They're dark sky compliant, downward facing, and it's been designed to reduce glare and provide minimal light spillover at all the neighboring property lines. In terms of traffic, we should note we did receive a unanimous vote of approval from the Police Commission at the meeting I believe it was last Wednesday. And we've addressed their concerns in regards to the traffic that's to be generated and then the combined effects of the traffic with our development and to the development of the 48 units to our south. But just at a high level, we did study 4 intersections as part of our traffic study going from north to south. That's all along Reservoir Drive, the intersection of Lindeman Drive, Rocky Hill Terrace, then our site driveway and Old Town Road at the bottom. The existing counts were taken in August 2025 while school was in session, and we did project those into a anticipated build year of 2027 using a growth rate of 1% per year. Proposed trip generation summary table. I know those numbers are kind of hard to see, but generally speaking, we're expecting between around 55 to 60 total trips in the peak hour for the weekday morning, the weekday evening, and also the Saturday peak hours. As you expect, the majority of the site traffic is leaving the development in the morning to go to work, and then in the afternoon, the majority of traffic is coming back from work during the week, peak hour rush, and then Saturday it's an even split, kind of 50-50, as people come and go to run their Saturday errands. Capacity analysis. We did provide an analysis of the existing no build and build conditions for the morning, the evening, and the Saturday peak hour periods. It was reviewed by the police department, and they provided the recommendations for approval. But just, high level summary, everything will maintain acceptable or background levels of service when development does come online. Average increase in delays for all the intersections analyzed is no more than 3 seconds. I would argue that's likely not noticeable for most people, 3 seconds of average delay increase. The driveway itself will function at a acceptable level of service of A or B, meaning, generally speaking, people should be able to get out of the site driveway within 10 to 15 seconds during normal periods of operation. There will be no measurable increase in vehicular queuing as a result of the proposed project coming online at all the neighboring intersections that were analyzed. There was no significant accident trends along Reservoir Avenue of concern. And then, in summary, the proposed development doesn't create any health or safety issues with respect to traffic, ingress, egress, parking, or site circulation, which was echoed by our police commission. In terms of safety, we did provide a figure within our traffic report, which was also reviewed by the police department, showing that we do meet the required intersection sight distances of 420 feet in each direction for vehicles that are exiting the driveway. And that's not based on the posted speed, which I believe is 30 miles per hour. That's actually based on the 85th percentile speed, or like the free-flowing travel speed of 38 miles per hour on Reservoir Avenue. In conclusion, for traffic, the site driveway operates at acceptable levels of service. All the other intersections analyzed will operate in acceptable background levels of service when the project comes online in the built condition. There's acceptable site distances provided at the site driveway. Emergency vehicles can safely traverse the site. And again, there are no health or safety related concerns regarding any of the traffic, site design, parking, ingress, egress, or site circulation components of the site design. And with that, we'll open it up to any questions that anyone may have. We can go from there.
Go ahead.
So, these are prefab apartments.
Do you want to take prefabrication? The question was
Yes.
prefabs.
Are these prefabricated apartments?
They are fabricated off-site in a factory in York, Pennsylvania, and then over a 6 month period on-site actually.
On site, 6 months to build?
Yes.
And then, so there's limited customization, correct? For the prefabricated?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Thanks.
You have a site in Cheshire, right?
Yes, it'll be delivered early 2026.
I heard that people went. I'd like to go see it.
Absolutely.
No more than two of us, if anybody, because if 3 of us go, it becomes an official meeting and has to have minutes and noticed.
Got it. We do welcome anyone to come for Cheshire or Rocky Hill. Would love to have you.
Any questions? Questions?
Sure. So along the same lines on the building, I mean, buildings are very plain looking, not particularly attractive, I don't think. But with the building method that you're using, how well is that going to hold up over time? Do you have any sort of estimated useful, life of these sort of buildings?
I mean, it's designed to be 100% code compliant. and weather resistant. So I don't think there's any concerns on our part that it won't hold up to the weather.
So we expect it to be here for decades?
We would expect it to be here as long as there's a need for it, yes.
The vestibules with these metal screens, are those open to the elements, or are those in front of some sort of glass?
The vestibule is an open mesh, correct? The vestibule is an open mesh.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But the roof is completely covered, so nothing can come in.
The roof is covered, but every floor is open on both ends to the elements, right?
I think just on the vestibule side.
So when we look at that
You want
vestibule,
to point to it on?
Yes. Over here, on the right side. That's an open.
And the
area
left
vestibule.
side is closed?
Correct.
So the elements can come in on one side?
Well, I mean, I think the openings in the mesh are fairly small. So if the
it's-
concern is like a
Like a wind tunnel effect.
Well, I mean, I in terms of like precipitation and stuff coming in, I don't think that's much of a concern. But I guess I couldn't speak to. I don't know if you have anything.
We're happy to take that back and provide any answers in terms of
it's almost like having an open stairwell, right?
Yeah, like at Avalon.
Right. And in your statement of use, you go through some statistics here. So it looks like around 21% of Trumbull residents are cost burdened on housing. But when you go through the application process, there's no consideration given to, existing residents in town, right? There, no extra.
If you want to take them.
Yeah, for the record, Jay Klein, Carmody Law. No, I mean, it would be I'm not a fair housing expert, but you can't give preferential treatment under the state law to one person over the other. But certainly there are a number of Trumbull employees that we anticipate would qualify if they wanted to live in this building or buildings in the future.
Right. Thank you. That's it.
Mr. Cousins.
Your introduction said something about applying the vision of your company to the temperament of the town. To what extent do we know, are there surveys or anything that demonstrate Trumbull residents want to live in these studio size style apartments?
we'd be happy.
Identify yourself again.
Kyle Stein with Vessel Technologies. We'd be happy to take that back. What we do know is that housing in Trumbull is extremely tight, and anywhere else that we've introduced our building, it has been met with extreme enthusiasm by working people. And that is why our one-bedroom count is so high, because this is for working people.
Thank you.
There we go. Okay, we'll start with the easy ones. Sidewalks.
Yes. Question.
Sidewalks, question mark.
So there is a series of sidewalks throughout the parking lot.
Specifically on Reservoir Ave.
There are no existing sidewalks along Reservoir Ave. The closest to the north is 600 feet away, and the closest to the south is about 1,000 feet away. So at this point, there is not a connection to any sidewalk network along Reservoir Avenue.
We impose.
We
we impose the sidewalks on the age over there, so we've begun. You may have heard us before. We have to eat the elephant.
So a formal request to add sidewalks to the plan.
It's quite a possibility at the end if it gets that far. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll discuss internally. Yep.
Thank you.
Noted. Thank you.
All right. You can't see it here, but there's two separate buildings. Now, on most ordinary structures, on most ordinary properties, with the combination of lots and the two separate structures is not ordinarily permissible. I understand under 830G, we're generally stripped of any authority to regulate that, but I'm just pointing out that that Tetris piece of a piece of property is unusual and that things are wedged in. And that leads me to the question about setbacks. Perhaps I failed to find it. There's certainly a lot of paper here. What is the setback? That bottom left of the property looks extremely close to the neighbor. And maybe I'm just unable to see it on that particular map.
Yep. So the property is set back, the building is set back about 16 feet from the, I guess, southern property line and about 20 feet from the western property line.
Okay, so the building is 16 feet from the property line.
The building is set back 16 feet from the property line, correct.
You're 16 feet away, right? So it's awfully close, and it's, what, 5, 4, I forgot the exact amount. How many stories is this?
He's more than 16 feet away.
5-story.
5 stories, okay. So second and 5, that's 15 feet. It's 4 stories, 15 feet from the property line. Now, to be fair, it is the back of someone else's property, but nonetheless, it is awfully close. This property here is kind of at the juncture of several different zones. This
Can we stay? I want to piggyback your point before you jump to that one. Is there a reason why it's not in the center? That rear building is not sideways and in the center, so it's more balanced and away from the neighbors, and you have parking on both sides instead of jammed in the corner?
So, one, the intent was to share the parking facilities for efficiency between both of the buildings, and secondly, the buildings are oriented north-south in order to get the greatest amount of sunlight into the windows, so the windows facing east-west. That's why the buildings aren't oriented horizontally; they're oriented vertically.
Right. So
and then putting
the neighbor in the back is going to look at that building, so the people who live in there can have sun in their kitchen. Got it.
So but putting the building in the middle of the property also provides a challenge for trying to get around to the back. So
Yeah, but you have all that triangular grass, right? If you put the building in the center there's plenty of shared parking on both sides.
yeah, but understood. But there's also other grading constraints and other mechanisms that need to be accounted for by looking at by placing the building in the middle of the property.
Yeah, I'm thinking you use less piping, less wiring, less everything because you're closer to the street.
Well, but you'd still have to run a drainage system for everything that's on the western side of the property, and then try to work around a building that's in the middle.
Okay. That's your answer. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, so 16 feet. All right. Thank you, by the way. Junction of several different zones. A residence A, there's consumer businesses and an industrial zone. There are still industrial uses very close to this property. There's a variety of senior uses. It's become, by no fault of our own, somewhat of a patchwork of uses, and who knows what will happen to the next property as applications come forward. As you can see in the packet you gave us, there seems to be some type of, I don't know what to call it, a garage. It's certainly a pre-existing, non-conforming industrial structure. I could only fathom how old it is. It says 1957, but it's the outbuilding.
It's up there on the picture, Rich.
Yep.
There we go. The one on the left, it's in a residential area. It's somewhat of the inverse of, say, Spring Hill Road, where you have homes next to the dump and next to factories. This, for some reason in some past time, was converted to residential zoning use. And that structure, like other places like the Berkshire Garage, still exists in residential areas.
I'm going to jump to the end of your sentence. Are there any environmental concerns because of what he's describing on that property?
Not that we're aware of, and anything that, if there was, anything would be remediated as necessary per state regulations.
Have there been test pits, soil borings, anything done to determine what, since evidently 1957?
Phase one. There's been phase one. There's been a phase one report prepared. Yes.
And do we have that report, sir?
I don't believe it's been submitted.
We can submit all environmental reports.
Okay, I'd like staff to have an opportunity to look at that as well, because we've never, again, this is inverse of everything else in Trumbull where former residential properties were converted to industrial use. I don't know if any of these exist.
Right.
It's a surprise to us that anyone in a normal circumstance would consider building that without extensive testing. We trust that you'll do so.
That's part of their standard due diligence.
Okay.
Commensurate on what the results are from what you present staff, are you amicable to a third-party review at staff's choosing?
For environmental?
Yeah. Depending on what the
Yeah,
results are.
we had a phase 1 and a phase 2 report done here by Reef Environmental.
Can you come to the?
Yes. We had a phase 1 and a phase 2 report done by Reef Environmental.
Okay,
we
so
will share with staff.
So there is a phase 2 then. Okay, so
2 minutes ago it was only phase 1, now you did phase 2?
I'm not the environmental engineer of record, so.
okay.
Okay.
So
So-
just to confirm, and again, I'm going to look here. It says when the buildings were built. This is 2155. Building count 2, so we confirm that's the right place. It has 2 buildings. There's an appraisal. It doesn't tell you much about its time. Okay, the first one says year built 1957. The second one says 1957. How convenient. So, according to the documents that we have here, which we assume are valid, they're our own, in 1957, someone decided to build that home and that industrial garage on the same property. Now, I don't expect everyone to suddenly say, well, that's true, that's not true, but it says it right here. We must assume that in 1957, that's what happened. And with 1957 industrial technology, I'll bet you that there is a significant amount of asbestos in that property. I'll bet you there's a significant amount of dumping. 1957 is a long time ago. That's, 58 years of potential dumping, certainly 58 years of industrial use. If I were to find a piece of property somewhere in, say, I don't know, Spring Hill Road, it's a junkyard, right? So Spring Hill Road is next to the dump, that's suitable. I don't think anyone would say, yeah, let's go build on an industrial dumping site, because that's what it's qualified as. Service shop, industrial, and junkyard, which, by the way, is a banned use in Trumbull because long ago we determined we don't want more of them. It's a pre-existing non-conforming industrial structure. And the applicant wants to build housing towers in the dump, the literal dump. So I understand it's going to be tested. It's got phase 1, it's phase 2, but I'm incredulous that someone would consider building there. Do you want to, the question is, and you don't have to answer it, would you want to live on that piece of property, not because of what's around it, but because what's on it now?
Yeah,
And I'm not grandstanding. The election's over. I'm good for 6 years. I'm pointing out that that is a completely unsuitable piece of property by anyone's definition. You can go to anybody in Trumbull. Do you want to live there? As it stands right now, that doesn't look pretty.
I'm happy to answer the question, even though perhaps it might not have been a question. I don't know. For the record, my name is Jay Klein, again, partner at Carmody Law. Should also tell you I'm a peer or colleague of yours as a member of the Easton Planning and Zoning Commission just down the road. So I appreciate you all taking the time here tonight in the peak of the holiday season. A couple of things. To answer the question, will anyone want to live here? Yes, certainly. I do. We are confident that people want to live here because there is a 400-person waiting list at a similar building in another community here.
Sir,
in
if I may
Connecticut.
interject, is that similar building built on what was once an industrial dump? Probably not. I don't know how Cheshire is. Cheshire's a pretty nice place.
The second,
No.
I think Trumbull's a pretty nice place too. In any event, there is no evidence of environmental harm that would not permit residential use on this site. Of course, in any application, not just an 830G application, but in particular an 830G, you're guided by the evidence in the record, not by ifs and maybes or suspicions or predispositions. It's all about the evidence in the record, and there's no evidence of any environmental harm that would prevent residential use on this site. Otherwise, my client, the applicant, would not be looking to purchase the property and invest significant amount of money to build residential building on the site. I think in terms of
So
environmental.
on your point right there.
I'm sorry?
On your point of there's no evidence, when you
Yes.
present what your phase 1 and phase 2 are you amicable if staff and engineering review decides they'd like an independent test commensurate on the results and tests you did? Are you amicable to that?
I am not. I would have to go back to our client to answer that question as to whether a third-party reviewer would be something we'd agree to. But what I will tell you is that I don't believe that that's necessary based on what I've seen. But that's something that we'll take back to the principals at Vessel, and we can communicate that to Rob and his staff in between now and the next meeting. What I would say in terms of sustainability and environmental issues is that when you look at a building like Vessel, a modern system that has a really all-electric capacity, if environmental issues are your concern, if sustainability is your concern, the product that Vessel is offering to the community is really top of the line and provides a sustainable and attainable alternative to stick-built construction or single-family subdivision, that type of use. I think that's important. If environmental concerns are at top of mind, I think that's important, that something that you pay attention to. In terms of whether folks will want to live here, I won't tell you what I think personally. I'll just read from the Trumbull housing plan that was enacted a few years ago, and just verbatim. There are not enough homes in Trumbull to meet the need. The waiting list for persons applying to the Trumbull Housing Authority is measured in years. Hardly a day goes by that a current resident in Trumbull is not calling town hall, asking how they can address their housing situation. That is, I credit the town for putting that in. Not many towns put in that type of sincerity and honesty in their housing plans, and that demonstrates, I think, the need and the demand that you'll see on this site here today.
Thank you. And the statement about who wants to live there is specifically, and once we see the phase 1 and phase 2 and potentially a third party, these are matters to be discussed. Once we can prove that that area is environmentally sound, then what you're saying is absolutely valid. If people are calling and they want to live here, okay. They want to live in Trumbull in safe and clean housing. Let's prove whatever the standard is, beyond a reasonable doubt, it's not the right word, but you know what I mean. Let's prove that this is safe, and whatever phase is required, whatever third party is or isn't required, let's prove that this is good, safe, and environmentally stable location. There are questions that need to be answered.
Yeah, and again, we're happy to dig into that further in preparation for the next meeting. Couple of things one final point is that in the context of this application, we'll certainly put our case forward, and we look forward to answering that question further at the next meeting. So.
Thanks. There's no 830Gs in Easton, right, that we can go take a look at for comparison?
Not yet. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I didn't think so.
Not in my time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So are you all set? So I can go to the public?
I would just say, just to adjust the form, I think it's also worth noting there are people currently living on the property as well. So I don't think it's at a point where it's unsafe for someone to, not my professional opinion, but just for what it's worth. There are people, in whatever needs to be done to clean up, it's going to have to be reviewed and approved by the local building department and the health department for any type of, removal and processing of the materials. It all has to be done per codes and outlined that's by Connecticut DEP. So whatever needs to be done will be done.
Just one more comment, and your comment, Mr. Chair, kind of sparked the thought in my mind, so thank you so much, if that's okay. This is an 830G application. I know we all have our opinions on 830G, and as I said, as a colleague of yours over in the town of Easton, we have a lot in common in terms of understanding or trying to understand, how the municipalities can, meet the state's new goals for housing. When I look at a project like this, or when I look at 830G, certainly there is the sort of reflexive and, oh my gosh, we have to fight this thing. But what I think is really an important and useful strategy for municipalities to think about, okay, as you said earlier, this is the reality in Connecticut. This is the law, and how do we best live with that reality and be proactive in our dealing with that rather than being reactive. And one of the ways that I think a lot of towns have been successful in being proactive when it comes to 830G applications or 830G in general is building enough homes to earn a moratorium from 830G, a 4-year moratorium. And the way that you earn a moratorium from 830G is by building enough homes at certain income levels to earn a certain number of points. It's not easy. There are a lot of points that you need to earn, and it takes typically a significant amount of time to earn those points. Because this is an 830G application, this project will earn the town of Trumbull more points than pretty much any a non-830G application. That's because when an 830G application is approved, you get moratorium points for the affordable apartments, but you also get moratorium points for the market rate apartments on the site. So we have 150 apartments on this property that we're proposing, and if it is approved and when the apartments are built, the town of Trumbull will earn 105 moratorium points from this project alone. 105 moratorium points from this project alone. That is, I estimate, and I'm not on town staff. Town staff knows better than me how many points you have in the bank and how many points you need to achieve a moratorium. But that's got to be at least somewhere around 40% of what you need to get to a moratorium. And you don't have, you're not starting at zero right now, right? You've got more than zero in the bank. That is really incredible. And I urge you to consider what could be achieved with 105 points in the bank. A 4-year moratorium from 830G that allows you to get back in the driver's seat and not just be reactive to applications that come here and there. I think it's a terrific site and a terrific opportunity to earn the points on this site because we have a building that is set back 80 some odd feet from the road, with substantial screening on Reservoir Avenue. So it's a site that can accommodate the points without, having a 5-story building imposing itself right on Reservoir Avenue. It's an opportunity that many communities don't have because they don't have sites like this assemblage. And for that reason, a lot of times when a project comes through, an 830G might only get 20 points or 15 points or 40 points. This is a significant number, and it's something that the town could use to its advantage. I'd also point out in our application materials, and I can pull it out while public comment is going on to the extent there's any public comment, the approval of this project in the terms of building permit fees, WPCA fees, connection fees, and the increase in property tax, substantial increases in Trumbull's bottom line, substantial multipliers in the increase in property tax value when this project is built compared to what is there today. So I will double check the math so that I can give you those exact numbers after public comment.
Being a commissioner, you know that we can't use those in our deciding factors, right?
Well, again, we can talk about the differences of 830G versus typical applications, but certainly as, I shouldn't say elected or appointed, that I'm not familiar on, which you are here in town, but as officials of the town, certainly more money in the town's coffers is not a bad thing. So it's something that we put to you as part of your decision.
That was great, thanks. I'll just tell you, one of the things I didn't hear from the commissioners, that there's a little bit of a struggle here. It's kind of the opposite of some of the other applications you've heard me discuss here tonight, where they come in and say, you can help us build this, or we're gonna build that. And what's happened in those instances is we've had high-density housing or more houses in areas than we'd have preferred. But they are at the level of suburban Trumbull. And this is something that we haven't seen. This appears to be low cost to assemble housing prefabbed, that it looks like how many houses or how many units can we stack in here prefabbed to get in here with small footprints. Trumbull has not experienced that. So this is almost like 830G at its, hardest impact, if you will, because it's not what Trumbull is used to. Trumbull has expectations of room and growth and the suburban feel. That's not what this is. This is compact, prefabbed. How many can we stack up in one place? So it's a little different to swallow for the commission than we're used to.
If I could briefly, I keep on saying that, but if I could respond to that as well.
Right ahead.
Look, I understand that change is is difficult. I understand that, and I personally think there's nothing wrong with learning and just adapting with that change together. I completely understand that and accept that. I do think, though, that as we kind of go into the future on housing, I do think rather than the term prefab, but what I'd say, I guess, is off-site construction, I think that's something that you're going to see as more of a tool in the toolkit. I think it'll be something that we get used to into the future for a couple of reasons. And I think there was an article in the New York Times last week or the week prior, one of their columnists. We'll make sure that you all have a copy of it. It's kind of one of the emerging topics in the development world. But it does allow for quicker construction, which means more homes built quicker. Stick-built construction can take sometimes years at a time. What Vessel is able to do is to put a building up really in a period of 8 or 9 months. And when you have that construction taking place more off-site than on-site, that means less disturbance to the neighborhood, right? You don't have all the construction activity and all the excavating.
Exactly.
And all
No local construction activity.
well,
Exactly.
it's less of a, typically when we come to these hearings, something that we'll hear, and again, it's not a packed room, but there are other folks here. What is not uncommon, as I'm sure you folks know, serving on the commission, is people saying, my life is going to be a nightmare for months or years while these guys are digging out and putting down a foundation and putting up a building. That's not an issue with the Vessel product. It's something that can be done very quickly. And that also goes back to the moratorium points that I mentioned a couple of minutes ago. What I see in some communities is when an 830G comes in or any sort of project comes in, popular or unpopular, there's a concern that, okay, well, you're telling us that we are going to earn all these points, but it doesn't mean anything because we don't know that you're actually going to build the thing, and it could take you years to build the thing. And a town does not earn moratorium points until the building is built and certificates of occupancy are issued. So the good thing about Vessel being able to build this community quickly is that you will earn the points quickly. These points will be real points. They won't be theoretical points that are never realized. So again, it's a new concept. That is true. But it's something that we not think. That the fact that it is off-site construction and can be done quickly and efficiently, that's an asset, that's a strength, that's a reason to approve this application, not to deny this application. And certainly doesn't create any sort of health or safety concern either. So,
Mr. Chairman, if I could just add to this too. I
ahead.
think there was discussion previously about possibly doing a service drain analysis too. I don't know if you guys were thinking about that and doing that as well too.
Yes.
And then I was just trying to figure out. I know you have a project in Cheshire. Is there any other municipalities that you have the project in CO'd or done in the state, or any pending applications you have in the state right now?
yes. Yeah, so we do have, as Kyle mentioned, there's a community in New London that is built and been up for, I don't know if it's a year now or a little bit over that. Project in Rocky Hill that's coming online. In terms of, I think Cheshire's the easiest one to get to, but if there are other sites that folks are interested in, we can coordinate whatever you'd like with staff.
So is there a counterpart that we could talk to, or I can talk to at one of these municipalities to kind of get the rundown of what they've.
We'd be happy to facilitate
positives
that
and-
conversation.
okay,
Yes,
great.
absolutely. I think that's a great idea. Thank you for suggesting it. And
Is there opportunity for appearance upgrades or choices? Because we've had multiple developers come in with cement boxes, and they've framed them out and pitched them in different textures and allowed us to choose to, soften the blow. Because we're not concentrating on prefab as a reason. It's just one of the multiple subjects of the prefab and the small footprint of the living space and things like that.
Sure. There are color. If you look at the materials that we initially filed, a month ago, you'll see that the building that was on that project was a white, two white buildings. And what we presented to you this evening, and Luke, I'm sorry, but I just don't know how to navigate the slides on your computer here. We have modified that already. We heard rumblings that maybe the white was perhaps too stark for folks. So what we have here, I believe this is close to, this is in Cheshire, this
This is
Proposal for here.
Right, this is the proposal for here. What you have, I mean, this kind of reminds me, rather than white, if you're like the Wagoneer, right?
So
with
you're
the
talking
wood
about
panel.
colors. Is there any options for exterior besides a color change?
That's really the most that we're able to offer at this time. What I would tell you, and again, this is not meant in an adversarial way. This is just as I guess, the nature of 830Gs. There's extensive case law on 830Gs and architecture, and I have not seen. In fact, there was a appellate court case recently over in Fairfield where architectural concerns. While we all obviously have our different aesthetics, that's not something that's a valid reason to deny an 830G.
We're not talking about reasons to deny. You're talking in reverse, saying the same thing you did. You're just telling us we don't have to change it. We can still get it. We're talking about trying to make something look like it belongs in Trumbull. Like I explained to you, the developments we've had get molded to look like they belong in Trumbull and welcoming rather than,
Yeah. Well,
reform Xerox.
Yeah. I should say too, the one thing I'm not saying to any of these questions or comments, the one thing that we're not saying to any of these is no. So, these are all notes that we're going to digest over the holiday. And,
Not a reason for denial is an absolutely politely way to refuse.
No.
I like it. It's good.
No,
but it's exactly a refusal.
No, I'm just saying that in transparency. I don't want to set an expectation that we can't meet.
Got it.
Yeah,
All right, I'm going to go to the public. He's been sitting here all night.
Yes.
Come on up. You're the only one here. Anybody here for or against would like to speak? Come on up. Name and address for the record.
So again, my name is Edmund Guitar.
Yeah, aim it to your mouth. That's all.
My name is Edmund Guitari, 2095 Reservoir Avenue, so very close proximity to the development. I'll be honest, we haven't had enough time to digest this particular one, but our comments are very similar to our previous submission. But we're very appreciative of the 830G concept of it. But the few concerns that we have would be, the strain on the public resources. Again, the traffic, and looking at the police commission report and listening to the submission earlier, it seems like there's a bit of inconsistency where the police commission report says there's sidewalks on Reservoir, which I know they don't exist. But they did admit that there is no sidewalks on Reservoir. So I don't know. It's not a big deal, but it's something that probably we should flag to the police commission that in their report when they say there's sidewalks, they.
So we'll ask staff to look at that.
Yeah,
Because
they
if
do
there's
mention that,
there's errors in the approval, then we have to take a look at that.
And a second point about the police commission report is that I'm looking at the minutes from the meeting that were published 2 days ago. They did have concerns in their final report, in their minutes. They did say, considering this in conjunction with the other proposal, that they have concerns about traffic congestion on the road. So again, that's something that to think about, that it's not really one application, because either unless you're saying.
Yeah, you're describing a loophole. They're both coming at the same time.
Exactly.
They can only
And they
measure
do-
existing. They can't measure each other.
And they do mention that. And in the police commission, they do say we looking at this one in conjunction with the previous one, we do have concerns now, because the previous one they didn't have any concerns because they didn't have this one to consider. So again,
Unfortunately, it's an observation, not an evidentiary objection.
correct. So one of the things that I really want to bring up about our own personal property concerns is, even though, and we put that in the submission, I didn't mention it earlier, even though our property is not flagged as a flood zone, when we moved into this property a couple of years ago, when there's heavy rainfall, because of this very high water table, our basement is continuously flooding, and we've had to spend a lot of money to waterproof our basement, make sure that the water is being pumped out of the basement. It's not a flood zone, but it is happening. So I'm concerned that these high density properties with the water flowing into the surrounding areas is something that will exacerbate the problem. They might have a lot of ways of dealing with water within their property, but the flow is in properties that are not protected in that similar commercial way. That's where the problem will happen. And then, it's circumstantial. We don't have any proof to say that it's going to happen for sure. I've been
here long enough that you bring up a very valid point, and the reverse is in some of these developments, after the development, the water flow is improved, because instead of it just being porous land, they are actually processing it and redirecting it. So both exist. We won't know.
Yeah, I agree. But on the whole, really, in summary, from our family's point of view, is we're not necessarily just objecting to everything. We're saying, Commission, think about the wholesome area, because you approve this and then you approve the next, then suddenly it becomes a big problem. So make your own judgment, think about what's best for the area, and really make not single-mindedly thinking about, okay, we're gonna do 2135, and then we're gonna think about the next one when it comes. So really just saying we have concerns, and I think we've expressed them to the Commission for your consideration, and we
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else for or against? No? You want to tie it up, and I'm going to leave this open the same way I did the other one in case commissioners
Through
have
the chair.
questions.
Abby had something else.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Save that for later. We don't need it right now.
Yeah. The text letter? The letter of text from Ayala?
There's a letter from a Juan Ayala 2160 Reservoir.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, at the end, we usually say those for and against right before we vote. Yeah, we'll put it in. Yep. That's one of the things I want to go over before the next meeting. So we'll put them all together. You want some? No.
Council, if you could, you may have done this already, but it may be helpful for staff. You had mentioned there was a certain number of points that the town would get. If you could provide the calculation, how you got to that, it's just for our benefit, that
Sure.
would be helpful, I think, for the next meeting.
Yes, certainly, and we did put it in a chart form in our application package, but I know there was a lot of paper in there, so what I'll do is I'll make sure I'll email it as a standalone item to Rob and you, Jim, if that's okay, so that it's sort of at the top of everyone's.
Yeah, the town planner can handle. Yeah, sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
you're good.
okay. I won't bug you.
No, go right ahead anytime. Thank you.
No,
Appreciate that.
All kidding aside, no. Again, thank you everyone for making room for us on your agenda this evening. One item that I did, and thank you to our neighbor for hanging in for the evening as well. That Rob asked that I did not answer before on the impact study, the sustainability study. We will provide that at the next meeting. I think in terms of maybe along those lines, I mentioned I'd be ready to speak to the municipal benefits exhibit that we included in our application. There's the building permit fees, the sewer connection fees, all, $300,000, $1 million for the sewer connection. The annual property taxes today are $24,000. When this project's built, the annual tax will be $725,000. So
And I'm going to repeat, Blaine.
I'm sharing the information, and you will do with it what you will. But that's something that is impactful, certainly.
Here, are you guys open to less density? While we're in the interim and we're seeing if commission have questions, are you guys open to something that's less density?
Les, if that's something that you all would like us to take a look at, then that's something that we're happy to examine between now and the January meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. If there are any other, I guess would be helpful for me. I know we're all looking to get out, or everyone wants to get out, but if there are other questions that you want to pose to us now as homework over the next several weeks, we
I
can
think we
take
got them
those
all
down.
out. That's why we're
yeah.
pausing.
Put that on,
Hopefully
yeah.
you'll get some in the next few days so that everybody has time to work on them and get the answers back.
Certainly, yeah.
Attorney Klein, I'd also be aware of WPCA's schedule as well, too.
Yes, we are mindful of that. And yes, thank you very much. Yeah.
I believe they have scheduled the WPCA meeting for January 14th. As a possibility.
That was what I heard from Mr. Nugent as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because it was the end of the month. Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, go ahead and name and address.
Just Rena Bacalar, Director of Economic and Community Development, listening in tonight on the proposal. So thank everybody here for everything that you're contributing. But I just wanted to mention, as it related to the height, I didn't hear this clarified, and I want you. So it's my understanding from the meetings that I've had leading up to this that a typical story is 12 feet. This, because of the way the construction is a 10-foot story. So when you're talking about 5 stories, that's a significant height difference. It doesn't solve all problems, but I just thought that the commission should be aware of that because it presents differently,
That's
in
a
that
good
way.
point. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Just to quickly address some of the comments raised by the neighbor. I believe he's a neighbor to the south. And just for what it's worth, we actually, if you take a deep dive into our stormwater report, we're capturing acres of drainage from the properties to our south that overland flow onto our property. So we're actually dealing with existing drainage issues coming from the neighborhood to the south onto our property and factoring that into our model and attenuating that for the proposed. So I'd like to say it would hopefully be an improvement to at least the block that we're located on, for what it's worth. And just to clarify some of the comments, I believe he was referencing the police report that was issued by the patrol sergeant, but we did at the meeting address those concerns, and I did reiterate when you combine both our project and the 48 units on the table to the south, when you combine the impact of both of those, there's still sufficient capacity on the roadway network to accommodate both of those and additional traffic. And the police commission was glad to hear that and appreciative of the response. And
your traffic engineer said that, or you did?
I'm the traffic engineer.
You're the traffic engineer?
Yes. Yes, but for what it's, I mean, there's adequate capacity on that road for several hundred more vehicles over the 70 or 80 total that are going to be placed there combined between these two.
Right.
So there's sufficient capacity to handle
Yeah.
that.
And if we're talking about reality, when you talked about your 35 mile an hour, but it's really 38 at a thing, 38 is braking speed on Reservoir Avenue. Okay, it's not an accelerated speed. That's the slow speed on Reservoir. That's
Well,
why I
the 80
understand their
that's,
concern.
That's based off of factual data, 85th percentile. 85% of the vehicles are traveling lower than that speed. That's the design speed that's based off of national standard. That's data collected and provided in our study.
Data collected from measuring.
Correct.
You actually measured this on there.
Yep, it's in the reports of the traffic report. It's all in the data. Yep.
Great. Okay. I think we're good for tonight, unless you want to add anything.
No, the only thing I'd ask is that it sounds like this is being continued to your regular meeting, which will be Wednesday, January 21st at 7:30 here in this room. Great.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much. Again, appreciate the time this evening. Hope you all have a great holiday, and
Thank you.
we'll see you in the new year.
You
We'll
too.
work with Rob in between.
Motion to continue.
Council, you grant an extension of time if that's necessary for us to continue the hearing to the
I don't think it's necessary to grant an extension. It falls within the 65-day window.
Correct. We have 35 days within which to close the hearing, and I think that is a separate timeline. I'm not sure which timeline we're operating on, because
Yeah.
we have a public hearing as well. But
You're agreeing. You're just agreeing to the 21st. and
Well,
you're saying
in either situation, whether we don't need there's no extension that's required to get to January 21st. January 21st is less than 35 days from now, so we're okay.
Correct. I agree. If for some reason, Council, is it January if the meeting were canceled or postponed due to weather? we have to render a decision based on your email to me by January 23rd.
Mhm.
So that's my only concern. So that.
Yeah. If the meeting was, if there was something that resulted in the cancellation of that meeting, then yes, we would address it at that time. But I'm fingers crossed. My birthday's the day before, so I'm hoping that it's a beautiful 24, 48 hours. So.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
To continue?
Is this your cord?
Phone from the back of the room. Mr. Deacon made the motion. Mr. Cousins seconded it. All in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Motion to close. Is there a planner's report for tonight? No? Good. Thank you. All right. Motion to close.
Minutes.
Minutes?
I'll make the quick motion for the first time ever.
Motion to approve. Mr. Deacon. Seconded. Mr. Cousins. All in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're approved. Mr. Cousins. Nobody's going to challenge what you type, Abigail. All right, motion to close. Can we close now, Abigail? All right. Mr. Deacon wants to close. Second. Ms. Delvecchio. All in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. This was fun.